I don't know what I don't even know what to say. Thank you so much for watching my 3D debut that I worked very hard on, and that was something that I needed to do. I'm genuine. I don't know. I'm lost for words. I didn't think this day would ever come. It was so funny. I want to say thank you to everyone who sent super chats during the stream. And obviously I'll do my best to thank everyone individually in the days to come. For right now, We're just here to have a little celebration, and to talk about what happened. If any of you got any questions, I'm gonna go over them, but yeah, that I'm really proud of everyone who came together to help bring that to life, and I'll stand by the fact that one of the greatest things about my life, and one of the most incredible things that I get to do and that everyone in Niji gets to do, is the fact that 3D was so unique to me, and this massive company bent over backwards to make sure that I could do that. I wrote a script and I handed it to them and they said, let's do it. And that is amazing to me. Before I do anything else, I need to go through and I need to thank... Well, let's talk about what the film meant and why I called it that and why I made it. I feel so kind of like, I can't even describe why. I feel so like shaken up, you know? That's like, wow. I feel so, you know? Okay. So, as you may have been wondering, why is it called Minotaur? Well, for me personally, I thought of the name a long time after I started writing the script. In actuality, when I first went to Japan to stay with the others, you may remember back when I did stuff like the telephone game collab and the Smash Bros collab in Japan. After that, on my way home, and before I then went back to Japan and stayed in the monastery for a while and became a big guy, it was when I was in the airport, and I was walking around and I was grabbing some snacks. I remember it very clearly. I saw an image of a Minotaur on like some kind of product, like a bottle of water or something. And I thought about the myth, I thought about what it meant, and it immediately occurred to me. I thought there's a lot there, right? The Minotaur is a combination of man and beast. The Minotaur is a ferocious, terrifying creature that exists halfway between humanity and between... what's the right word for it? Ferocity, I guess. And I think I felt a kinship with that myth because not only was the Minotaur given sacrifices, human sacrifices in order to stay alive, but I think I, in a sense, feel like a combination of man and beast. What I was shown when I made the Demon Hungers is that I cannot be all beast. But what you showed me from the years that I spent in NIJISANJI and knowing you before I made that film was that I can't be all man either. I wanted for so long to fit into this mold of what you wanted me to be. And then when I made the Demon Hungers, I wanted to reject that. And I wanted to become all beast, I suppose. You may remember my classic stream, Plastic Cow, talking about, you know, the imagery of a cow being representative of, you know, a person's identity and their potential. But you cannot just have one. There needs to be two halves to the whole, and I couldn't see that. But I realized that after a while, and that was where Minotaur came from. This film is about me learning to integrate and to be a part of this world that you've welcomed me into. One that I thought I didn't deserve to be a part of before, but now I know that I do. And I have you to thank for. I have you to thank for that. That's my interpretation anyway of the name Minotaur, but obviously there are a lot of little nods and similarities and messages and meanings, and this is as much your film as it is mine. If you have prescribed a certain meaning to the name Minotaur, then by all means, you can approach watching it again, or in any way that you choose. Your interpretation of it is just as valid as mine is, as the person who made it. So I want to say thank you to a lot of people. Before I thank anyone else, I need to really, I feel like I'm going to cry. I want to get down on my knees and I want to thank my manager, pregnant man emoji Mane-san, who did so much to bring this to life. First of all, when you're in the studio and when you're filming these things, I am the only person in there who does not speak Japanese. And my Mane-san is the only person who speaks both English and Japanese. They enabled so much, translated so effectively, and not only that, so all of the lubrication between myself and the crew and the camera people, the tech people, the massive crew that went into making this possible. Not only did my manager help me put all of that together and help the team communicate with me, no matter how strange or excessive or bizarre the ideas that I had were, they all went above and beyond to make them real. There were so many instances where a scene would have been so much easier to do had we done it some other way, but they believed in what I wanted to do and they did it my way because they supported me, and I cannot thank them enough for that. And as well from my manager for helping teach me how to sing. The vocals for this, for the songs in this 3D debut were very much an ongoing process. I learned a lot about singing over the course of making it. And it was while I was in Japan, while we were working on it, throughout the filming process, I was also going with Mane-san to a recording studio, and they are an excellent coach, and might I say, a much better singer than I am. They were giving me such fantastic pointers about physicality and about breath control and about tonality, and I feel as though I am so much stronger of a singer now because of them. The amount of work that they have done to support me, purely because, you know, I don't even know why, but that's my manager, and I love them very much, and I really appreciate them for having done so much for me. It wouldn't have been possible. It truly wouldn't have been possible. And next up, someone else that I really want to thank, all of the people who are a part of the crew that I organized, you know, the non-Niji side who I was commissioning. They're all amazing, but one person I really want to give a shout out to is Unit Zero. After getting home from Japan, when listening to the mixes for these songs, when listening to the mixes from these songs, there were some areas that I wanted to work on. And Unit Zero took over from my Mane-san, and that was Mane-san crying. Oh. Unit Zero took over and was down every day to help me sing and to coach me on singing. And I want to tell you something, that final song, The Hand of Daedalus, which I actually came up with the name for not too long ago, the final vocals for that were recorded 2 days ago because there was so many areas that I had to improve. That song is hard. That song is really hard to do, and he would stay with me for so many hours on call, you know, coaching me and trying to get me and helping me understand what I needed to do, helping me with my confidence, helping me with everything that I needed to kind of break out of this shell that I've put myself in of being someone who doesn't know how to sing. I really feel like I can do that now. And in the same vein, Diego, for always being available and for supporting me and working on the music that he worked on. And to the whole music team, Unit Zero, Diego, and Valley, for being overall, I would say, so okay with me having wacky ideas. So How to Get Away with Murder which I'm incredibly proud of as a piece of music. We would like those guys really cooked when producing this one. What was I gonna say? The way that song came to be was that it began, every song in this was inspired by a song that I was listening to at around the time that I was writing the script. And we would take like a song that I liked as like a baseline for inspiration, and then I would throw in extra bits from the pot. So that song began being inspired by Tame Impala, by Let It Happen. That was the main inspo for that song. But then after a while, I thought, no, this needs a little bit extra. And so I said, can we throw a bit of Joji in there? Can we throw a bit of Kanye in there? Can we throw a little bit of, can we throw this bit in there? Oh, there's this vocal bit from this. Can we try this? And they just take all of these random ingredients. Lord Huron for the first song, He Who Awaits Eternity, was absolutely inspired by Lord Huron. That was the main one. And they would take all of these different ingredients that I was throwing in, and I would, chuck them into this pot, and they would stir them up into something amazing. And I felt so lucky that all of my mad creativity would get, had the ability to be sort of like brought out by their talent. Another person I have to thank is Shanzi Kul, who is a clipper, who has done some great work on some clips before, and who has a great editing skill set. And so I approached him for some extra stuff, and the amount of work that he was able to do in an incredibly short amount of time, like with a very, very short time span. He did an amazing amount of editing on those tentacles that you saw near the end, and all of this other stuff. A lot of stuff in that would not have been possible were it not for his precision and handiwork with editing. So I definitely would not have been able to put this together in the way that I did without his help. The kind of masking things out like that, it's such a difficult thing to put together, but he was just so quick and so efficient and so polite and so lovely, and everyone I worked with was so incredibly polite. Studio Yuriki for putting together the graphics for the opening credits, for animating Tenchi's tentacles, and for putting together that fucking list. So what we're going to do tomorrow is do a play-by-play. I'm going to do like a director's commentary where we're going to watch it again with pauses, and I'm going to take you through some behind-the-scenes stories. I'm going to tell you a whole lot about that fucking list that the judge held out in that scene that rolled across the floor, because it's a great little gag, but my God, did Premiere Pro not enjoy me trying to do that. That was a very difficult scene to edit for no fucking reason at all. And yeah, overall, like the whole team, I kind of already went over it, but so many people go into making these. So many people have to give up so much time to make these possible. And the fact that I asked them with this script to do so much, and they never even questioned it. They never even questioned it. They said, yeah, absolutely, we can do that. One thing, I'll tell you about this right now, okay? This is, I'm going to thank some more people, but I'm going to talk about this right now, okay? So, this is an example of how brilliant they are, okay? The scene with the stairs, and I'll go over this in more detail when we do the stream tomorrow. The scene with the stairs. So, from the beginning, when I wrote that scene, I wanted it to be a nod to Perfect Blue. Where in Perfect Blue, the main character is chasing a copy of herself down some stairs, and she's running after her, and it's all a great surreal mesh of reality and unreality. And I felt as though there was some similar vibes, and so I really wanted that scene to feel a little bit like Perfect Blue. And I spoke to Mane-san about it, and Mane-san said, well, it might be difficult, to have a scene with stairs, and that's because, obviously these things are all filmed in a studio, and you can't really have stairs in a studio, it's just a flat space. And I was like, well, I guess we could try and do it with, like, you know, maybe running around a corridor or something. But I was like, I just said, I would really, really like to do it with stairs if we can. And I was, you know, I'm always very sort of amicable, and I try to kind of, I'm always quick to add, it's okay if it's too difficult, we don't have to the end of my sentences. And I should be more kind of straightforward, but I'm glad that I stuck to my guns on this one, because little did I know, but minutes, mere minutes after they had finished, or after I had said that, the crew gathered round with boxes, wooden boxes, and tape and safety mats, and they built stairs in front of me out of thin air. And they lined it all up, and we built the set on the spot. And we used the magic of editing to have me walk up a few steps and then send me back, and then cut to a different angle and have me walk up the rest of the steps. And then like I said, with the magic of editing, it all comes together so incredibly well. So just in case you doubt how far they're willing to go to make sure that you have creative control of your 3D and of, you know, what it is you want to do, they really do entertain so many different things just to make it as good as it can possibly be. And of course, I have to talk about the best kept secret of all, Folga Ovid, Fu-chan, my Boo-Boo-chan, my brother, my Lambro. So for those of you who are not aware, he's talked about this before, but due to, you know, his health issues, Folga can't have his own 3D debut. He can't make it out to Japan, and he won't be able to have, I'm going to call you Boo-Boo-chan as often as I want. He can't have his own 3D debut. He won't have the opportunity because he can't make it. He can't make it out to Japan on his own. And for that scene, I didn't know who to do it with. What I wanted was to put a scene together that conveys what I felt when I was starting to realize that I would just have to be okay with who I am. And that script is heavily based on a real conversation that I had with Fu-chan. And I was writing this script, and what's really interesting about it is that while that conversation was based on something that I talked with him about, the idea of the scene on the beach, I wasn't sure who I was going to do it with for a long time. I thought about, oh, maybe we could get some crazy celebrity guest, or maybe we could do this, or maybe we could do that. And I was stumped for a really, really long time. I was like, God, I don't know. What am I going to do for this? And then the moment I thought about Fu-chan, it all clicked into place, because I realized, yeah, he can't have his own 3D debut. He's my brother. He should be a part of mine. And so, if anything, that scene on the beach, that is his 3D debut. He got to have one. Staff made special arrangements, and that was one scene that we filmed on location. We actually went out to the beach and we filmed that scene together, and it was amazing. It was an incredible experience to get to work with him, and really, you know, I've put him in the special thanks, but Folga's manager for pulling so many strings and for working so hard to secure all the arrangements to make that happen. Folga, I'm so grateful to him. I know he's here. Folga, I'm so grateful to you for letting me do that scene, because it was so important to me to have someone that I look up to so much and who has helped me so much, and also to set the record straight on a number of different things. Our journey as a pair of people in the public eye has been fascinating, and the way that you've supported me behind the scenes non-stop, every day, constantly, is something that I want the world to know about. What did you say in chat, you softy? I'll never not be honored that you allowed me to be a part of this. It meant the world to me, and I want you to know how much it meant to be in all the comfy dance. Love you, brother. I love you too, brother, honestly. You deserve so much, and giving you that scene, and really, you know, you giving me that scene, that was kind of like our gift to each other, because I can't imagine a better way of showing the audience how I learned that lesson. Yeah, you go cry. I'm going to cry after this. And yeah, that's that's a lot of who I have to thank. I'm really, other than that, just everyone from EN who helped me come to these realizations about myself, my friends, my family, and of course, at the end of that list of special thanks is you. I've been a fool, and you know that. I made a lot of mistakes at the end of last year, and I don't blame myself for having made a lot of those mistakes. It's not as though I don't understand that. But what I had at around that time was the patience and the kindness and the love of an amount of people a size that I cannot fathom. I disappeared for a long time because I was very unhappy. And, you know, I finally finished them today. The subtitles for the Demon Hungers, I finished them today. So if English is not your first language, if you're more proficient in Japanese or in simplified Chinese, you can go and check those out right now. But I finally figured out why it took me so long, and it's because at around the time that it came out, I was so exhausted from having worked so hard on that film, that when everything went down and when I went through my transformation and when I was so embarrassed and so riddled with guilt, it was difficult for me to think about that film for a while. It felt like a point of failure, you know? Not as though the film itself was bad or anything. I'm still incredibly proud of it. But what I did feel was that maybe I shouldn't blame, I don't blame myself for having, because I was under some pretty shitty personal circumstances, you know, transforming into a demon and murdering people is awful. But those emotions made it really difficult for me to judge what was actually going on. And I took that out on my own kindred, and I'll never forgive myself for that. However, that's what Minotaur is all about. This film is about learning to accept the darkness inside of you. This film is about learning to accept that life is not perfect. This film is learning to accept that none of us, I more than anyone, am a little bit man and a little bit beast. But inside all of us, there is a man and there is a beast, or a woman, whichever you prefer, or neither. That exists inside all of us, and we must be okay with our beast. We must be okay with the plastic cow that sits inside the restaurant in our soul. God damn, I'm so listen to that. That was crazy. We have to be okay with those things, because while I sin in a way that's more obvious and in a way that's more recognizable, everyone does. Everyone is flawed. Everyone has their dark side. Everyone hurts. Everyone does the wrong thing because they're upset sometimes. It's a part of being human. And so if anything, now, even though I tried to reject that human side of me for such a long time, it's now that I feel more human than ever. And I have you to thank for it. Throughout that whole time, you waited. You waited, and you waited, and you waited. Some of you even took it upon yourself to make little posts about me every day, reminding people that I would come back someday. Some of you sent me little messages through Streamlabs and just checked up on me and never expected a response, but just wanted me to know that they were thinking of me. And even if you didn't do any of that, even if you never sent me anything, even if you never made a tweet, if you were just someone who waited, who recognized that I had the potential to get better, thank you. I'm brought back to a long time ago, many years ago. I remember the day I walked past a house, long way away from here, some other town. I walked past it and I thought, you know, I would really like to live in a place like that, and I would like to work a job that I love. And I have that now. I mean, I live in an apartment, but I like this. I think the spirit of it is kept because I like the place where I live very much. And so I have that now, and I owe that to you. And in return, I want to make this all worth it, and I want to give back to you. And in the months to come, while I will never stop cooking forever, I will always have things on the back burner that I'm working on. I want to put a lot of time into making sure that I can see you. I can actually stream. Can you believe it? I was hired to be a streamer. Can you believe that? I almost forgot. So thank you. That's the main thing that I wanted to get out of this experience, and I wanted Minotaur to be... you can consider it almost a companion piece to The Demon Hungers, where The Demon Hungers is a film with a very light tone that becomes very dark near the end. Minotaur is a film with a very dark tone that becomes very hopeful at the end. And I'm happy that I've given you something that ends on a message of hope. Because right now it's like I've said before, the world is full of hope. And you've helped me feel that. Seriously. And there's an Akasupa project going on right now, and I don't even have the words. Did I pick Black Arm Gang in... yes, the line in the scene with Kichiro, the Black Arm, yes, that is a reference to RuneScape. There's a quest with a gang called the Black Arm Gang, and I picked that because I thought it would be a funny reference. Those who know, if you know, you know. There are a lot of little references, and there are certain scenes where I would encourage you to slow down and take a really close look at some fine details, because there are some hidden clues for various different things. You can figure out a lot, I would say, or you can get a lot of theories, I would say, if you slow things down and you check it out. Okay, you're so kind to me. You're so kind to me. Anime Impulse, thank you guys. So, yeah, that's my 3D. It was a, something that I needed to do, I think. Early on, the horse... I'm gonna okay, because I know a lot of you might be a bit confused. I think the horse scene is a runner-up for my favorite scene in the whole thing. So I'll give you a bit of backstory about the horse, right? So the horse, I remember back when I was first putting this together. When I was first just getting started on the script, and I was planning out sort of the sequence of events. This would have been around January when everything was first kicking off. I was looking through the list of available props that staff had on hand, and I was looking through the list, and one of them was a horse. And the moment I saw it, the scene immediately appeared in my head. I knew what I had to do immediately. So, it's silly, right? It's silly that there's a Family Guy reference where Ike says, "Vox, the horse is here," and then suddenly it becomes, I'm not sure what the right word is, but a surreal nightmare when the voice of the boy I killed comes out of that horse. With that scene... that was a little bit of me trying really hard to help you understand what I felt at the time, right? Or trying to help you understand what I felt when The Demon Hungers first came out, because I revealed one of the most traumatic and terrifying parts of my life, and the first thing that happened, or one of the first things that happened, was that people made memes about it. I saw memes about me seeing that boy in my nightmares. And so I wanted to create something that was a bizarre and disgusting sort of combination of both funny and gruesome in a way that makes you laugh and then makes you like, ugh. And then you have to process the fact that you're probably still giggling. You've still got that funny smile. There's still a smile on your face. There's still, you know, those happy chemicals in your stomach. But then you're made to feel afraid. And that's how it felt for me. That's how it felt seriously. That's how it felt for me when something so personal, you know, when some people treated it like it was a joke. Not to say that you were wrong for doing that. It's a film. You can have whatever experience with it you want, and coping with humor is a good thing. But it felt strange to me, and I wanted to show that. And I'll tell you, when I had my onsen experience with Claude, where we went to onsen together, and then we sat and had like a real heart-to-heart in the changing rooms afterwards, I told him about my concept for that scene, and I asked him, do you think that's going too far? I asked, do you think that's like jumping the shark a little bit? And he was like, brother, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like it could work. You know, if the execution is right, I feel like that'll work. You know. And I think it did. And I think it did. So I'm grateful to Claude. That's another special thanks. I'm grateful to Claude for giving me the confidence to actually go through with that idea. Oh god. Okay, I have to thank some of these supers. So there's this big Aka Super project, and I'm gonna make sure I thank all of these. So I just want to say thank you guys so much. Oh god, there are so many. Oh Christ, and there are more, and I will thank these as well. There's just there's so much. All right, Suika, thank you very much. Harumi, Danya, Didia, thank you. Ame, thank you so much. Chen Tian, thank you very much. Murasaki, Tairosa, Lingyan, Kalai, Yining, thank you very, very much. Feli, Harumi, Miaobing, Harumi again, Yubo, Jupiter, Isbeb Mosai, Zestu, and Mufang. Thank you so much for your support with this. That's really, really, really kind of you. It's really kind of you. So yeah, I would say, obviously, maybe you didn't have the time. If you were at all lost or confused with anything that happens in Minotaur, I would say that it would be worth watching the Demon Hungers as well, because there's a lot of concepts established in the Demon Hungers that make a little bit more sense once you watch, make a little bit more sense when you watch Minotaur. But I did do my best to illustrate things in a way that made it easier for first-time viewers as well. So, so yeah, if anyone feels like doing that, you know, it's always there. I'm flabbergasted. It still doesn't feel real that it's done. Oh yeah, didn't know I had moves like that. Yeah, so it's really funny to me because the names for the songs, in my head, okay, I'll tell you two things, right? First of all, in my head, the names of the songs never were the actual names for the songs, because when I was first coming up with them, I couldn't think of a name, so I called them Song 1, Song 2, Song 3, and Song 5, because originally there was going to be another song in the middle. There was going to be a cover, but in the end, it's already over an hour long. So, and we were really, really grasping for time. So unfortunately, that one we didn't have time to do. And also because I'm still nursing the 100-day cough, and it's quite an ambitious cover song. I didn't get, I wanted to rest my voice and not chance it. So that one will come as its own project later. So yeah, it was going to be 5 originally, but the 4th one will come as its own cover another time. But just, you know, chill out and wait for that. Chill out and wait for that. And it was the only one that wouldn't make any difference to the plot if it was removed. It was there to kind of enhance a certain moment, but none of it relied on that moment. What was it? I won't tell you. I'm not going to tell you. You have to wait until I eventually do it. But for How to Get Away with Murder, which is, well, for all of the songs, most of the lyrics were written by Unit Zero and by Diego. They sort of gave the lyrics a start, and I looked through it and I made some changes. Some of those lyrics are my own ideas where I would take the format, you know, because they're more familiar with musical production, so they would write those lyrics and then I would make some adjustments to them and stuff like that. However, one part where the lyrics were all mine were the bars. The rap sections in How to Get Away with Murder were mine. I wrote those. So the second one, which you know, the "Are you listening right now?" That one was from. I told Diego I wanted to try doing that, and he said to he gave me like some gibberish, and he said, all right, what you should do is kind of write some rhymes, you know, with these syllables over top of these, and then it'll probably work. And it did work really well. And then but the first one, the one in the red, that, you know, when the lights go down, the syllables and the lyrics, that was all me. And I'm going to be honest with you, writing those lyrics was probably one of my favorite parts of this entire process. I had so much fun figuring that out and learning how to do that. There are many versions of those bars that I went through before I arrived at what is in the 3D finally. You will never hear those early drafts because they are really bad. The early drafts of the raps that I wrote were really bad, but some of them were not so bad. And I remember when we were recording the scene with when we were recording those bits with you know, the clones of me, I had sent a version of the script to staff with the old lyrics. And I had at that point I had recorded the new ones, but then everyone was reading my old lyrics, and I got really embarrassed. And I think you can low key in I think in the second part there are a couple parts where my movement is a little bit awkward, and I think that's because the embarrassment of knowing people were reading those on this big screen, that suddenly hit me really hard, and I was like, oh. But then I just took over it, and I was like, you know what, it's fine. And to be honest, I feel like I really discovered something about myself, because I was like, damn, I actually can write lyrics. You know, I actually do have the ability to do that. And I think that writing rap especially is a lot easier because I don't really need to understand. You got to understand rhythm, and you have to understand, you know, all of those things, but like, you know, there's no worrying about how well sort of the tune will go. Like, it's a lot closer to spoken word than it is to writing sung lyrics. So I like, you absolutely, Sean. Well, I'm glad you think so. I was like really pushing through my own anxiety that whole time. But to be honest, like, I want to do more like that. I feel like I could put out music like that all the time if I wanted to, because writing those lyrics was so fun. The Sisyphus stream, you remember? Well, the thing is, that's why I started randomly rhyming in that stream, because I'd already been writing those lyrics. I probably started writing those back in March and just slowly iterated on them all the way up until I finished. I actually finished those lyrics for the first rap section. I finished those when I was on my way back from the monastery down to Tokyo to do the 3D. That was I finally finished them, and I was like, okay. And I remember reading the other bars back, and I was like, there's no way these other ones would have worked. There's no way these would have worked. I'm so glad I figured that out in the end. So to be honest, I had a really good time. I had a really good time writing those. The actual process of filming was both exhausting, stressful, terrifying, but also liberating, and just so fulfilling and so fun. It was a little bit of everything. So it's a strange experience because will I be releasing the OG songs on their own? Yes, I will. I think that I'm going to start probably by releasing them on Spotify, or like on TuneCore. I'm gonna be working with staff to try and get those out on TuneCore, onto streaming services and stuff like that. And what I also plan on doing, what I probably will do, is upload the individual music videos from the 3D as their own thing as well. But I won't get around to that right now because I need to rest my poor little heart, because it's all up in my throat with the excitement. But I'll get to that pretty soon. I'm quite proud of what we did there, especially honestly with or really with all of it. Honestly, all of them. I really feel like we had some very creative ideas. But I'm really happy with song 1 as well. He Who Awaits Eternity, the cowboy song. That one was so fun. That one was so much fun. And actually changed a lot. Very close to when we started filming. Okay, I'll give you what I was gonna say. So this script and this film, as you know from how I've talked about it, very personal stuff. There's a lot of stuff in there that's really personal to me. And having such a huge crew that I couldn't directly communicate with because obviously they don't speak English and I don't speak Japanese, and so I have my lovely Mane-san to help me out with that. Approaching this was very, very, very scary. It was very nerve-wracking to go in and say, hey, big team, this is my little, like, thing that I made. Can you give up a lot of your time to make it, please? I was so nervous, and I was horrified, honestly, by the idea of going in and having that many resources be spent on making a thing for me. But honestly, on the first day when we started filming, on the day we went in, and you go in and you're waiting to get started. The moment that we came out and I met the crew, I just was like, okay, and I locked in. I immediately locked in and I just went into director mode. I was like, I cannot afford to feel things right now. And I just kind of inhaled and was like, we need to make the thing now. And we popped off. I'm really proud of what we managed to do. And so that, so He Who Awaits Eternity, that, originally my idea for that was quite different. Originally, I had written that scene and imagined that song as taking place within a saloon. I imagined it taking place inside an old-timey cowboy saloon. But because I was writing the script in such a state of excitement, I actually, I had picked out one of the sets that they have to do it, but I hadn't really looked closely at it. And then when I took a second look, I was like, this doesn't look like a saloon at all. What was I thinking? And I wanted there to be lots and lots of people in there for me to sing the song to, but not a lot of people were available on the day. It was just Shu and Luca who were available. So last minute, I redid all the storyboards and I changed the script into that campfire setting. And honestly, I think it kind of suited it better. I really like the campfire setting because it gave us so much room to run around, and you had stuff like, all of these great shots of the trees and a lot of like establishing stuff. We've got Ren in chat. What is man saying? That's an amazing 3D DP. Thank you, Ren Soto. Thank you for checking it out. I'm really glad you liked it. This isn't a saloon, it's a campfire. And Luca and Shu's, their cowboy accents are so funny. So I sent them the script a while ago. I sent them the script a good while ago, and I said, hey guys, are you gonna be? Would you be all right to give this a try and to try and do some acting? Give me your best cowboy voice. And they were like, no, and they were like, yeah, sure. And with so a lot of the words in there actually. So what a lot of you may not know, I actually lived in the Wild West. I actually lived back in Arizona and in various different U.S. states during the Western expansion in the U.S. And that's what I was dreaming about in that scene. I wanted to kind of bring more awareness to that because that's true. And I can prove that because a lot of the slang in that scene, all this bangtail needs to do, it's like, I ask you something, chisel. Those are all pretty authentic cowboy slang terms. A bangtail is like an unruly horse. It's like a horse that won't do what it's told, and I figured they could refer to me that way. And then a chisel is like a a good for nothing. It's like, hey, you stupid ass, you stupid idiot. And Luca kept saying, I ask you. He kept saying, bullshit, partner. Like every time we were taking time off from the scenes, like, bullshit, partner. Was Luca the one doing the L Fortnite dance? Yes, he was. So that was Shu and Luca, and then we had some helpers, come in as well, who completed the group there. So it was Shu and Luca, and it was 2 other people. And what we did for that was I basically said, okay guys, again, much like the horse scene, I said what I want from this is I want something that feels serious yet goofy. I want something that draws the line between them and creates kind of a strange, uncanny, bit of nerve-wracking experience, okay? So I turned to them and I said, okay, guys, do something silly. Please do something silly and it'll be funny. And okay, I'm not putting Luca on blast because in the end, I like what he chose to do here. I like what he chose to do, and I think that it makes the scene really, really funny. But I can remember in the moment while we were doing that, I said, Luca, you want to do a Fortnite dance, right? And he was like, yeah, I could do a Fortnite. I said, I turned to him and I said, Luca, don't do the take the L dance. Which was my greatest mistake because of course that's exactly what he did. And I remember like not wanting to include it at first, but then the more I watched it, I was like, God, this is so funny. So in the end, like I had to include it. I thought it was really, really good, honestly. And it just, I don't know, I feel like it adds a certain level of parody to it that I think originally I was nervous to do. I think when you go for that, when you go for true parody, you kind of need to let loose a little bit and have something that's unashamedly goofy. And I was a bit afraid to do that while we were on set, but when I watched more of it, I was like, you know what? He actually kind of cooked with this, and I liked it. So I'm happy to keep it in. Did you actually learn how to play the guitar? No. I just had that guitar and I was just madly waving my arms on it and just trying to match it with the music. I'm not a guitarist. But that's the justification for that is because that scene is a dream. So I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can play the guitar in a dream if I want. I can play the guitar in a dream. There's no stopping me from doing that, right? So I figured, why not? Give me a guitar. Adds to the vibe. He was hearing white noise and he only heard the take the L dance. Yeah, that's one thing that I really liked about this is being able to find the balance between the goofy and the serious. And I think that is a great way of trying to help sum up how it feels to be me doing this job, to have lived a life that's so long and so full of hardship and so much serious dramatic shit that's happened, and to then waltz into this life where everyone just wants to laugh and have a good time. It's difficult to get used to, but Minotaur is my way of trying to show what it's like for me to get used to it, and I'm glad that I can put that out there. I love doing He Who Awaits Eternity. I love doing the cowboy song because it was just so fun, and all I said was, all right guys, camera guy, Shu, Luca, all I want you to do, there was no strict choreography for that scene. There was a choreographer, let me double check, make sure I don't get the name wrong. Ayaka Nishi-san, who came in to help with choreography, produced some videos with just basically like general vibes for that scene, and I kind of implemented some of those, like the leg kicking and the kind of the pointing and stuff like that. Helped with some of the choreography, but then a lot of it was just, I was like, all right guys, I am a weird man who has just appeared and is singing this song to you about something scary. I want you to be somewhat scared, but also somewhat curious, and overall you're just kind of like, what the hell is going on? And you just kind of run around and be confused. And they really took that. There were so many great bits with them. I love the one where Shu like waves his hand in front of his face like he's John Cena, and I love the one where I love the one where Luca runs into frame and then in time with the drums, like he just immediately runs back out like a Scooby-Doo character. There was just so much fun stuff in that. It was a really high energy opening. And that's one thing that I really, really liked about having that as the intro was I love the Demon Hungers, but it has a very slow start. It's a very sort of, it's a very quiet, spaced out kind of film. It's meant to be sort of cozy and you can kind of sink into it, whereas this I wanted to hit you from square one. And opening with my first ever original song that also happens to be a cowboy song, yeah, I was like, that's the intro. Never brought up again, never addressed again. It opens with me having a dream about my glory days, about being this terrifying creature, and about having some level of, you know, of pride in that. I think that's what you can kind of take away from it, is that that's the ideal. You know, the ideal life is one where this insane power that I have and this insane life that I live is that it's something I'm proud of, and that I can use that, you know, to get what I want. That's the ideal, because I know that you would like that. Unfortunately, you're stuck with this this boring moral creature, but I hope, you know, I hope that you don't mind that. And of course, yeah, I need to talk about the other special guest. I call him my brother, but he's not really my brother, my other brother, Tenshi. So for those of you who have been around for a long time, you'll remember the first time that his name was uttered was when I was playing Smash Ultimate against Cat Gaming. And the idea of, and I kind of switched into this polite mode. And suddenly people start bringing out this name, Box Tenshi, Box Tenshi. Well, I've never heard of Box. Box I had never heard of before. But Tenshi is real. He is, I don't think there's anyone really in my life who is more, or who has been more significant, I will say. And I thought it was important because that scene is a pretty much one-for-one recreation of a dream that I had some months ago. A little while after the Demon Hungers came out, I had a dream where he spoke to me and he was furious with me because of how I was acting. So while it is true that Tenshi is far, far away, and I have not seen him for a long, long time, those words were his words. And I have to say this right now, okay? He says things in that scene about, you know, he says things in that scene about you never thought to tell them. He says things about find a way to make things right. And so I needed to give him a scene, and I needed to show you that, because I have to tell his story. I don't know when it will be. It might not be for a very long time, because when I do, I want it to be in a way that is deserving of how significant he is. But yes, someday I will be able to make things right in that way, and I will get to tell you all about him, how I met him, what our friendship was like. And yeah, the rest of it. But I can't say too much. I can't say too much right now, but enjoy that scene. Enjoy that scene. Yes, the tentacle animations were from Studio Yuriki. They did an incredible job with that on very little time. Animating over top of that footage was very challenging, but they did an amazing job. And then Shanzi, cropping and shading and inserting that into the scene, did an amazing job. An amazing, amazing job. Like, an insane amount of work would have gone into making that scene work the way it did. There was a lot of technical mumbo jumbo going on to create that silhouette effect, and then to have all the tentacles work in the way that they worked. It was very challenging, but worth it, 100%. I'm so glad that you all enjoyed seeing him, because I know you like him a lot. And it is funny because the name Tenchi, I think the reason that you all kind of mentioned him and kind of brought him out that day back then, to my surprise, to my shock, seeing him be brought up, I didn't recognize, like I said, he's not called Box, but you can call him that if you want. But Tenchi really does come from, you know, when we met, kind of makes sense. We're very much the same, and yet he has this sort of angelic property to him, and Tenchi, Akuma, it just kind of made sense. So I think that you and I were on the same wavelength, you know? Anyway. You'll get to hear about him at some point. You found out about him very early, thanks to a really wild coincidence, and then my excitement. I planned on keeping him covered up for a very long time, but you got him out of me early. But now you have something of his to enjoy. So we'll talk more about the technical aspects when we, we'll talk more about the technical aspects later on. But for now, yeah, I'm just really, really proud of how that all turned out. Is there anything else that I need strictly to talk about? God. Oh, I can't believe it's over. I can't believe it's over. I can rest now. I can't wait to get back to streaming. I've missed it so much. Now that I'm home. Now that I've got everything in place. I don't need anything else. I can do my job again now. I'm not stranded somewhere in the mountains. I've got all my bills paid. I've got my internet back. And this massive, massive project that I'm so, so proud of. It's all done. And I can move on and do new things. And I know, knowing me, there will always be something else. There will always be something else to work on. But I don't want to take what we have for granted again. I don't want to take this moment for granted. I want to spend a lot of time with you. So while lots of people are here for this after party, I'll talk a little bit about my plans for the rest of the year. So we've got lots of fun streams coming up. One thing that I'm really keen on doing is that I want to make membership a place where I can relax and play whatever games I want. So I'm going to be playing a lot of old school RuneScape with members. This year, I really want to make a serious push to max my account. So while I can't promise it for every week, I want to make a push to kind of once a week to do a sit down and play the game, to try and make some serious progress on my account, because, like, you know, because I've needed that for a long time. I've needed to really dive back in to that game since I haven't really had time to play it at all. I've been working so incredibly hard, so insanely hard on this. Oh yeah, by the fucking way, I just want to flex for a moment. Can I tell you guys something? Apart from after I got back, and after I transferred the files over, and after I and basically just did a little bit of color correction, sound work, effects work and stuff, I edited that whole thing on my fucking laptop. At a dinner table. On a metal little fucking chair. I locked in harder than I ever have. I sat down and I was so into this that I edited this whole fucking thing on my laptop. And I want to say thank you. And I want to drop to my knees and I want to pray. I want to put my hands together. And I want to say thank you to my past self for choosing to edit this with Adobe Premiere instead of Sony Vegas. Holy shit. What have I been doing to myself? I edited the Demon Hunger in Sony Vegas. I edited it with all of the files on an E drive, on a hard drive. This one was edited on my laptop that only has a solid state drive. So I was using a fast solid state drive with Premiere Pro, and the process was so much faster. It was so much easier than it would have been had I gone the old route that I would have done had I been at home and had access to my fucking E drive, had I had Sony Vegas available. Well, I did have it available, but I chose to do Adobe Premiere. It was very helpful to be able to synchronize. I will say one thing I don't like about Adobe Premiere is how if you place one clip on top of another clip, the other clip just disappears. There was a time when the first few clips from this, I inserted some of the animation from Studio Yuriki and I was going to slot it in. Some reason it went right to the beginning and it just deleted the scene with Shu and Luca. Like this shot, like the master shot running underneath all of the cutaways, that was just gone. That was just gone and I had to re-edit the whole thing. I was very fucking upset when I saw that. I was like, Fah. Also, can we talk a little bit about that intro? I'm very proud of the way that this film opens, because I never said it. I kind of wanted to leave it as a little bit of a mystery. I never said it, but Minotaur, well, this 3D debut, I didn't want to say, oh yeah, it's a film right away. I wanted to imply that, oh, it's going to be crazy, but I didn't want to directly confirm that it, yeah, Control-Z, I didn't notice. I'd insert the file, didn't know where it went. I'd been editing for ages, and I tried hitting Control-Z, but it was, you know, it took too long. But, you know, and it wasn't, it didn't save that action. But anyway, oh God, what was I saying before? I've completely forgotten. Oh shit, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the intro. So I wanted to be like a, what? You know? For people who are used to watching other 3D debuts where they open in a certain way, where, you know, it's like a 3D debut that you're used to. I was like, nah, this is me now. I wanted to open with, you know, like Oppenheimer with the quote. I was like, this is going to be so cool. And that quote, I think, is very fitting for the, I think it's very fitting for the themes of the film. C.S. Lewis. It's an abbreviation. There's a little bit more to that quote in the middle, but it boils down to those lines that were in it. Can I remember it off by heart? Of all tyrannies, there is no tyranny more oppressive. Oh God, I can't actually remember what C.S. Lewis. There is no. Of all tyrannies, a tyranny sincerely exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. The full quote is, it will be better to live under robber barons than under omnipotent moral busybodies. The robber baron's cruelty may sometimes sleep. His cupidity may at some point be satiated. But those who torment us for our own good will torment us without end, for they do so with the approval of their own conscience. And for me, I feel as though this quote goes both ways. I put it in because I think it applies to both you and to me. I think it applies to me because I think that around the time the Demon Hungers came out, I was applying my morals. I felt that I wanted to do more with my work, and I wanted to do what I felt was the right thing with this sin that I was inevitably committing. I wanted to feel like I was doing the right thing. But in actuality, what I was doing was I was oppressing you in a way. What I was actually doing was out of my own good conscience, what I thought was the right thing to do, I was causing more pain to people. Something that had existed as a way of helping people, I had turned into something that hurt people. And that, out of my, you know, my sense of moral rightness, became something that was hurtful. But then the other way around, I think, in a sense, I think it applies less so, but in a sense, I also felt oppressed because there was a lot of dialogue at the time about, you know, me needing to sort of qualify a lot of what I was going through and needing to tell people what was real and not and what was fake. Whereas I'm sitting there like, bro, this is all real. I didn't mean for any of this shit to happen. And there's a strange level to which, and I still believe this to some extent, to where needing to have an accurate update of how I'm doing is, you know, kind of maybe a breach of boundaries in some way. But I think a lot of people felt like, and I don't blame them for that, not at all, but I think a lot of people felt like it was their duty to take care of me. And I think at the time, trying to exercise that care felt like it was oppressive to me. So in a sense, that quote, I think, like I said, it applies to mostly to me being an unwitting oppressor at that time, but I think it also applies to you guys as well for trying to help me, but doing so in a way that kind of pushed me further away. Not that that's your fault. Not that that's your fault. I was just going through a very strange time. You know, not only spending all of that time making a film, but then also it being a film about something so personal. I've talked about it enough. For the songs, yeah, like I said, I'm going to talk to staff about putting them on TuneCore and Spotify and stuff, and then what I'm going to do is upload the individual scenes as their own music video. But you got across a lot in that classroom scene. Yeah, the classroom scene, that was a lot. That was the last scene we filmed, and there was a small part of me that was debating whether or not I should even do it, because it felt so aggressive and really, like, you know, sad and vulnerable and invasive. But in the end, I thought it was really important to do. The most important thing to clarify, again, is that it's something that goes both ways. Because yes, I'm in a classroom setting and I'm being asked all of these invasive questions about me, which as a streamer is something that happens to me every day. You know, people ask, how big are your hands? What, you know, oh, are you a lightweight? Are you a heavyweight? Hey, are you a heavyweight? Are you like, oh, this person can drink more than you, blah, 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 blah. The pressure to drink sets in, which was something I suffered from for a long time. And then, you know, the other questions came in, and you know, you have that pressure and knowing that people want to know these things about you. But the most important thing to remember about that scene that I really want you to take away from that, the person asking those questions was me. The person who was drilling me and begging me and forcing me to say those things was me. It's not your fault as a member of the audience for being interested in things about me. It's not your fault for being curious. It is an unavoidable dynamic that creates pressure. It's an unavoidable dynamic that pressures all streamers into giving up parts of themselves for their work. And at the start of my career, I gave up everything for this. Everything you wanted to know, everything that you wanted from me, I gave up because I felt like that was what I had to do. But I can recognize that the fact that I did that, the person who made that choice was me. And so, again, much like the opening quote, that scene I wanted to act as something that goes both ways. It's not the fault of the fans for being curious. It's not the fault of the world for wanting to follow an interesting story. But it does, you know, that is what this career is like. It creates that pressure, you know? And in the end, I was the one who made the choice to reveal all of those things about myself. Not all of them, but you know, but most of them. Thank you. I'm glad you guys thought it was powerful. Yeah, and I'll talk more about the meaning behind the different scenes when we go through things bit by bit. But the whole kind of surreal scene, or the collection of scenes after How to Get Away with Murder, leading up to when I see Folga, it's all supposed to be something that conveys. It's all supposed to be something that conveys a little something about myself, or something about my work, or something about my relationship with you. So the stairs I wanted to represent, as you might have been able to figure out, I wanted to represent my anger in a way. But on top of that, Marie, thank you very much. And thank you for your help with the artwork for the, you guys, Marie did the artwork of the messy sink, the sink with all the stuff in it, and of the fridge. Marie is fantastic because what she did was, I basically said, for the fridge interior, what I want you to do is draw a load of things that are like Niji Easter eggs. And I didn't give many instructions besides that. I said, just kind of, just go for it, you know? And Marie really, you know, the two suggestions I made, I said, it would be funny to have a Shu Yamino branded banana, and it would also be funny to have the Noctix meal. If you look at that little kind of off-brand WcDonald's box, it's called like McDick Knockers, and on the bottom it says the Noctix meal, like the BTS meal, which I thought would be really funny. So yeah, Marie was very creative, and there were a lot of designs that she did that eventually did not wind up making it into the film. But she worked very, very hard, and I'm really, really thankful that she did it on a very short deadline as well. Pringles in the fridge. Hey, who put the milk in the cabinet? But anyway, yes. So what was I talking about? The stairs scene. Let's talk a little bit about what that represents. So the stairs scene, I felt was, I walk into that scene and I'm looking, the stairs aspect is very important because I'm looking up. I'm looking up at an image of a version of myself that possibly has something that I don't. The portraying that copy of myself as something that is physically higher up, it portrays that it is further ahead in its journey. He is further ahead and has more, has done more. And I think what I wanted to do was to show that it's a version of me that I think has done a better job with things, and perhaps is a version of myself that I desire to be. It's a version of myself maybe that lives up to a lot of these expectations that I find so difficult to contend with. And it was important to reckon that my response to that was to respond with anger, as I have done so many times. Well, I caught up to him, but I did so too fast. I caught up to him and I ran up to him in anger and I pulled him back down to my level. That was the problem, is that in my anger, I can often ruin things that I have going that are good for me. You know, and I'm sure we can all think of a lot of different instances where that has applied. That version of myself, I have to remember that that's me. It's all me. That's me going and succeeding, but seeing a version of myself that that I knew was me, but that I couldn't 100% identify with, that made me feel angry. And in the end, it was my anger at not being that caused me to destroy that version of myself. You know, to angrily yank it down the stairs and stomp on it. And very important as well to show that the perspective switches to the one who is at the top of the stairs, because in the end, by doing that, the only one that I'm harming is myself. Like with all of my intentions behind the symbolism in these scenes, I want to keep in mind that you can interpret these in any way that you want. You know, like I've said, this film, I think that a large part of why I made it was to kind of touch base and almost apologize for how weird things have been. And I think that this film is as much mine as it is yours. So what I think that, you know, while this is what I thought about while I was writing that scene, while this is what I thought about while I was filming it, it might not be all that it means. And if it means something to you, if that scene does something if it makes you feel something, and if it makes you feel something that's different from what it felt to me, then that's good, right? That's good. I'm really proud of that, and I wouldn't want you to look at it. This is something that I feel about art films a lot, and for those of you who maybe don't watch them all the time or maybe aren't that familiar, I really, really want to encourage you, try and watch some art films and don't fall into the trap of how a lot of people view art film. Art film is not about figuring it out. That's never been what these films are supposed to be. It's never, oh, I get it. Films are not a puzzle. Art is not a puzzle. It's not supposed to be a chance for you to prove how smart you are, nor is it a chance for you to call anyone who does vibe with it pretentious. A film is art in a sense that it will present you with imagery and with characters and with stories, and it is for you to apply your own meaning and your own understanding of what those things are about. It's like tasting whiskey. Whiskey or wine or any of those kinds of things, tea, are such complex beverages, such complex tastes that they have slightly different notes and aromas to everyone who tastes them. That's why they're so brilliant. They are so complex that your summation of experiences over your life has changed the way that you taste things. And when you taste those drinks, you will have a different experience from someone else. It's why so many people despise whiskey, but I love it. And it's why a lot of people despise art film, but I love it. When you're watching an art film, which, I mean, I wouldn't put, obviously I can't put anything I would make on the same level as, like, you know, an art film from like a real serious, you know, big bones director. Big bones, what the fuck am I talking about? You know, big honkers, big booby director, whatever. It's still, when you're watching it, I would advise you, don't try and figure it out. Don't try and turn it into a contest for your own intelligence. View it as a way of growing. There's a fantastic quote from Ethan Hawke where he talks about how we don't realize how much we need art until we lose something. We don't realize how much we need art until emotions are too strong for us to reckon with. We don't realize how much we need art until we have emotions we don't know how to process. That's what art is for. Art is for those moments when science, fact doesn't help us. We're emotional creatures, and we need to view art from other people who have experienced emotions in the way that we have, in order to express those in a way that might help us figure that out. Just hearing words from a therapist, although obviously you should be getting therapy, everyone should be getting therapy, sometimes it won't connect with us in quite the same way as seeing someone's feelings portrayed in a really powerful way. So again, I encourage you, if anything in that film or in any art film or any film at all, any work of art, if it personally connects with you, if you see something and think, oh, I reckon that means that, good. Good. You don't need fucking, I want to delete every single movie ending explained YouTube video off the fucking face of the earth. You don't need to Google it unless you want to. You don't need to verify what you felt about it with anyone. No smarter person is ever going to be able to tell you what what the experience was that you had, or what the intended experience was. That doesn't matter. Your experience with it is the most important thing. And I'm really proud. I'm really, really proud that I have a group of people who will listen to me talk about shit like this. That's so cool, right? That's so, so cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I'm not going to talk too much more about like the meaning of everything, because there's a lot more that I'll have to say when we do a little bit of a blow by blow tomorrow. I think tomorrow what we'll do is we will do a super chat reading. I'm going to try and get through all the super chats from the 3D debut and from today that I haven't read already. And then what we're going to do is either start like a separate stream, or no, I'll probably do it as like a part of the whole thing. I don't know. I'll think about it. And then we will do a stream where we do a run through and we watch the whole thing back to back, and I can pause and look through and everything. Oh, Sarah, I just noticed this first Akasuper in my life. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you. But yes, so if you're curious about about behind the scenes stories, my intentions behind the film and what I wanted out of certain scenes, what I meant behind certain scenes, and how I made it, all of that, come tomorrow. We're going to have a really, really good time, and I'm going to get to talk all about it. For the rest of the week, well, the week is open for the first time in forever. For the first time in forever, I can make a schedule I'm not ludicrously busy for the first time in a really long time. We're gonna play games. We're gonna catch up with so much. I might wait, maybe the week after next week, I'll do the YouTube poop stream, because I don't want to look at editing software for another 45 years, if that's all right, or at least another couple of weeks. But then we're going to do that. So all the streams that I haven't had the chance to do, we're going to do. I'm going to try really, really hard to get a good personal routine going. I'm going to really sort of work on my health, and I'm going to try really, really hard not to cancel streams quite as often, because I have had a bad habit with giving into days when I just don't really feel like it. I don't want to do that. We're going to play Tekken. We're going to play Tekken. We're going to play old school RuneScape. I want to do that. I want to do that first thing. Sunday, tomorrow, we'll watch the thing. And then Monday or Tuesday, we're going to have a RuneScape stream, and I'm going to sink right back into that game. If I can get a collab set up, I will do one. I'm going to start planning for the Devil's Tea House, the rebrand for Under the Table, new talk show, which is going to be fun. There's so much to do. There's so much to do now that I've got you back. And I've got you back. Now I've got you back. Imagine I'm giving you I'm giving you a little noogie right now. I'm like rubbing your head. I'm like, oh, I miss you so much. Kazuya Mishima wins. Yeah, I got to play Tekken again because they buffed Kazuya. Got to see what that's like. Yeah, getting out of I dropped out of Gary a long time ago. I'm back in orange ranks now, but with practice, I reckon we can hit those purple ranks with enough practice this year. I reckon we can do it. It's going to be tough, but we can do it because Kazuya's hard, but we can do it. So the 3D was great. Yeah. You know what's a good idea? I forgot about this. I'm gonna open Otsu for a little bit. Bada bing. I'm gonna open Otsu for a little bit. I don't know if I have Fugi set up. Let me do that real quick. It'd be nice to hear from the others. Oh yeah, Elden Ring we will get to. Elden Ring we will definitely get to. There it is. Let me just quickly set that up. There we go. There we go. There we go. Bada bing. Browser source. Foggy, you're going down there. Okay. But when people join, people join. Oh, I haven't even joined a voice channel yet. It's funny. There we go. Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Just a reminder, if you sent supers now, I'm very, very grateful, and I'm going to try and get to thanking all of those tomorrow. We're going to have a long day. We're going to have a long day thanking everybody tomorrow. And yeah, I'm just going to get around to doing all those. Yeah, and isn't that incredible? The fact that I wasn't able to stream Elden Ring meant that this was my 3D debut was my 522nd stream. That is quite remarkable, isn't it? That is quite insane that such a significant number has always kind of been there. Has always kind of been there at these opportune moments. Do you know something else? On the stream where I hit 522K, that stream is exactly 5 hours, 22 minutes long. How the fuck does it keep happening? It's fate. That's the kindred. That's the kindred of old, who are hopefully, like in the film, having that beautiful concert inside me. That's them. They're making that shit happen, you know. And yeah, I really have to thank Unit Zero for to update you on like the credits, I guess. Song 1, He Who Awaits Eternity was Unit 0. Visions of a Life, the acoustic song, that was Diego. Song 3, How to Get Away with Murder, was everybody. Everyone worked on a different part. Unit 0, Diego and myself all worked on the lyrics. And Valley did the vocal mix. She's amazing as well. Really helped. She also vocally did some vocal coaching for me for that song. You know, when things were down to the wire and I wanted to get some things better. And she did amazing. Was very encouraging. It's amazing how much my confidence as a singer has grown, and how much being confident when you're in the booth, how much that helps. And then the final song, Hand of Daedalus, that was Unit 0. And I have to owe it to him for helping, you know, it was him taking the prompt I gave him, and it was him taking it, you know, and he came up with this bit at the end, you know, that music box. And then, because the scene looked a little different to begin with, the song that I was inspired by for that one, this is funny. So I've always, for this 3D, I always wanted the scene to be that it would be, you know, it would be me walking outside for the first time, you know. So that story is supposed to represent a time at which I was stuck inside, and it ends with me finally leaving and going out and seeing the world. And I always wanted it to be, you know, to be capped off by entering, you know, going inside myself, entering New Sidonia, and finishing the concert for all the kindred who are stuck inside there. And you can imagine Kichiro would have been there. And then those of you who recognized his theme, the leitmotif, Jiro, I have to tell you, right, because obviously this film is all based on reality. I don't know if that's what New Sidonia is like. I can feel things, I can hear little bits and pieces sometimes in moments of quiet. I don't know if he's still there. But I really like to believe that he is, because when I see his face now, I don't feel that sense of tremendous guilt, since you have all, you know, fallen so in love with him and have been able to keep his memory alive. I don't look at his face with guilt, with too much guilt anymore. I feel a sense of pride, and I can't help but feel like there's something in him, you know, that's making me feel those things. So that scene where I'm so glad that, so Unit 0 had it end with a little music box, and I said, okay, I want you to, immediately came into my head, and I knew how I needed to end this thing. And I said, can you change this? Can you take this music box, make it Jiro's theme, and then bring it back in for one final, you know, I'm not sure what the word is, one final sort of victory lap. And I'm so happy with how that sounded. He wrote most of the lyrics, but those last three, I'll leave my past behind, our future's not defined, the hand that made this nation was mine, I wrote those. But of course, those were heavily based on what he had written before. And I'm so glad that that Jiro got to have a little moment there, because he is, in a sense, the source of that guilt. The source of what's made me into this person is the thought of him and what I did. And it's taking the moment from, you know, the really horrific moment from the horse scene where I'm horrified even to hear his voice, to hearing that same voice saying the same word, but to hear it and to feel the sense that it's going to be okay. That even the person that I've wronged more than anyone else, oh, hi Fu-chan! Hey, Fu-chan!
Beautiful bastard, how you doing?
You beautiful bastard, you son of a bitch! Come here! Get in here, buddy!
Hey, get in here and give me another hug, brother. How does it feel? Does it feel real yet?
No, it does not. It still doesn't feel real to me, honestly. This whole thing, this whole day has felt like a massive fever dream. I felt like I've been wandering around in a maze all day. Should I tell you?
I mean, very Minotaur themed. I get that.
I guess so. Wandering around in a maze, in a labyrinth.
Hey.
It was quite funny. I remember I started a game of Hearthstone before it was about to go live, and like while it was going, obviously everyone knows, you know, a lot of 3D debuts are live. This one, of course, could not be live. This one is a film that was pre-edited and everything like that. I started a game, and it was still going when it started, and I was like, and I was like trying to like, but I was like, I don't want my rank to go down, so I was like trying to play the game on my other monitor while I was watching it and being like, oh my god, this is like such a huge moment and it's happening. I kept looking over and being like, God, why did I pick this character? This is such a high EPM character to play. What the fuck? And I was just like rapidly trying to finish the game as fast as possible, and I still won, by the way.
Oh shit!
I still won while I was barely concentrating, but that's a story for another time. But yeah, brother, man, I'm so grateful that you wanted to do that scene with me.
Dude, you have no idea how much it like blew my mind when you reached out to me at first. Because when you were like, "Yo, do you want to be part of my 3D?" I was like, I would love that, but I don't think I can.
Yeah, right.
And then you explained that you'd already like gone through the right channels and asked other people's permissions before you got my hope up and like had all the shit set up. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Obviously, I want to be part of it, especially like the part that you gave to me as well is just like, can I say the character that you said you based the idea off of? The fictional character, because I know you talked about it being like a wise olden man, and you thought about a few things.
But you named character. Who are you? Who can you message me? Who you're referring to? Because
yeah.
Hold on, I'm not 100% sure if we're on the same page.
I'll drop it in collab VC text.
Let me have a look. Oh, that's funny because I didn't base it on that at all.
Oh shit! Yeah, no. I definitely remember like that was one of the things you mentioned.
You brought that up. I think you brought that up.
Oh, maybe I did.
I might have passively said, "Oh yeah," but maybe I just kind of got lost and wanted to kind of nurture your excitement a little bit. But yeah, no, this,
I might just be imagining
purely, that. I don't think it was really based on anything. I think it purely just came from like, you know, I was like, I need a moment that. Oh, Fuchan's a little loud. Let me turn you down.
Oh, sorry,
That's
guys.
Fine. Let me turn you down just a hair. But yeah, oh no, you're just loud on Discord for me, that's fine. But yeah, it really just came from like, we've got all of the intense scenes earlier, you know, we've got the classroom, the stairs, we've got obviously the horse. I was like, I need to take a moment where I knew it was like, I need someone that I look up to. I need someone who has gone on a long, difficult journey of their own and has something that they could teach me. I need someone like that to show me, you know, and to kind of tell me to, hey, knock it off, buddy, you know. And I thought and I couldn't think of who to do it. And the moment that you popped into my head, it just made so much sense. I cannot imagine having done it with someone else other than you.
You're gonna make me cry again, you fucker.
Yeah.
What I will say is, I've said this to the confidants a lot. I'm not sure if you ever saw a clip, but I mean, it's reverse Uno. It's the same way, and I think we both know this about each other. But I'm not sure if I ever said this to you directly. But like, all of your like the style of how you handle your massive amount of fame that you had to deal with like out of fucking nowhere and shit, how you treat your community and how like much of yourself you put into everything inspired me so much as well. Because I mean, I think you remember like when I first debuted, how different I was in just like reacting to things and like trying to keep myself separated in case this like ever completely disappeared. And it's because of the way that you've like shown so much love to your community and like just shown how connected you can be to things and share your passions with people without it feeling disingenuous. Essentially, the fact that you are so real with all of that has really inspired me in the way that I handle things as well. So yeah, it's gone both ways, and we've had a lot of conversations about like similar topics.
Man, that's incredibly sweet of you to say, and I don't know, I'm so glad that I could have like reached you in that way and I could have inspired you in that way. Because
you really did, bro.
Yeah, it's all such a crazy experience, and I still don't fully know how to do any of this. You know, it just like this film was all about me figuring shit out, and it was all about me saying, all right, take a step back, let's try and put what I'm feeling into art. And honestly, it's like I've remembered some of the lowest points in my life, you know, ever since I got really into film or really into writing over the past sort of 50 years or so. I always wanted to be able to create something that would come from an emotional place. I wanted to be able to find therapy in something that I make, and I think that's exactly what this is. Where the Demon Hungers was an expose on myself, and it was like something that was designed to I was almost hoping for a negative outcome. I was almost hoping for things to go, you know, for people to view me differently because of all that guilt. But then when that did happen, I wasn't prepared for it, and I suddenly realized how much I wanted, you know, how much I wanted things to go back to the way they were before, but with this strange moral sense of like, I can't allow that to happen. And like, you being there and you having been through your own story and your own strange, surreal circumstances, I couldn't have imagined anyone else having given me that pep talk in the way that you did.
I loved that. And honestly, like, you wrote the script so fucking well. It like all came so naturally.
Yeah.
And there were definitely some things that we changed a little bit while we were recording. So we were just like, this feels more natural. What do we think about that? And so it became like, yeah, the both of us just speaking to each other. It was so beautiful.
I remember, I'll give them a little bit of a behind the scenes thing. So when we were filming this, we had like a few takes of it. And
the first one.
So the first take, it was good, and this man is embarrassed, but it was good. He read the script great, and he knew his lines great, and it all went fine. But what I told him, I was like, okay, I was like, for the next take, you sound like you're doing your reading voice right now. You sound like you're doing your kind of narrator, sort of like your inner movie voice. I was like, what I want this to sound like is two bros chilling in a hot tub. Like, just...
I peed apart, but hey.
But hey, I mean, if you're down, I'm down. But like, the
sweet home Alabama.
But like, that... And then for that, most of what you hear is that next take. Most of what you guys see is that next take where I was like, yeah, just take these two, like, just what we sound like right now. You know, while we're just sat chatting, let's take that tone of voice and let's do that right. And you nailed it. You really, really nailed it.
You did amazing too. And I'm so glad you did that, because you're right. I was doing like the very visual novel inspired, like dramatic pauses everywhere where it's like, I've got to build the tension.
yeah. But it's like, you know, it's like you said, it's like you said in the film. It's like, oh, you know, it's like, I'm not busting anyone's balls. I'm just enjoying some sunshine.
Made it so beautiful.
Also, what you guys may or may not have noticed, I think the keen-eared might have noticed, but
I was wondering if you were going to bring this up.
Yeah. So the music in that scene, it's based on a free piece of music from like Incompetech, like a very sort of old royalty-free music place. But then what Unit Zero did, being the absolute monster that he is, he took Folger's old intro music, the synth, and he worked that motif into the song. So when Folger's hand shows up, bum, 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 bum.
Yeah,
bum,
with the
bum.
steel pans. It came out so brilliant. I remember when you explained that to me and I was like, yeah, that'll be a cool idea. And then you sent me the finished version and I was like, holy fuck, that's so good. It's like subtle, it blends into the music, but when you're listening to it, it's like, yeah, it's straight up Legatus motif built into the natural soundtrack. It was amazing.
Yeah. The moment stuff let us preview the footage, and we saw the shot of your hand with the drink in it when it zooms out from the, and then it sees like the your robotic arm. I was like, like just the way they cook with that was so great. The way I originally had the shot in my brain, it was very similar. I just imagined it as being like a static shot that looks at the sun way in the distance, and then you kind of like lazily, your hand kind of like falls out of the out of the chair because you're just chilling. But then like just having you hold it like that and having it zoom out and like come into frame, they're really, really brilliant, honestly. Like the stuff they do, it's so crazy how it's like, you know, I got into this job and this career purely because I was like, yeah, you know, I like streaming. This will be fun. And then, but my main interest obviously is in film. And then turns out, oh yeah, hey, we're gonna give you a ton of resources and time and support to make a film. And I was like, I mean, they didn't tell me that it was a 3D debut. They didn't tell me you can make a film. But then I asked, can I, you know, direct something? Can I make a film? And they were like, yeah, you can try. And then I sent them a script, and they never at any point did they say, you're asking to do quite a lot here. Never did they say, this is a lot to do. They just said, I remember when Mane-san looked over it all for the first time, and I remember talking to him, and I said, Mane-san, listen, I don't know if we can finish this. Like, there's so much here, and he just looked at me and said, let's work hard. And I was like, yes. I was like, yes, sir. And we just stood up, and I mean, we had it was an online meeting. Like, we didn't say that in first, but that's what it felt like. I would salute.
Yeah.
We got on with it, and I.
Captain, my captain.
Oh, captain, my captain, and from that point on, I had that in my mind is like, I can do this, and got to set and locked in every day. All the personal anxiety, all the embarrassment, just like put it away, lock in, and do it. And we managed to get everything done, apart from one scene which I've told them about. There was originally going to be a fifth song. There was going to be something else. There was going to be a cover, but in the end, that was the one thing we didn't have time for.
Did we find out what the cover was going to be, or is that something you just don't want to talk about?
No, I'm going
fair enough.
I'm going to keep it a surprise.
Interesting.
but yes, there will be one, so don't worry.
I will say, I'm glad you're being like so thankful to everybody else, but you're not giving yourself enough credit too, because you're talking about like all the amazing things that staff did behind the scenes, the cinematography and stuff. I was lucky enough to see your written script, and goddamn, you had so much of that stuff built into there, so much of the imagery, so much of the symbolism. When you were talking about like the music, and I saw so many people in chat saying like, I didn't notice that, I have to go back and watch it. There are going to be so many things that like weeks, maybe even months from now, people are watching like their fourth and fifth time and just see something in the background or notice like an expression or a slight movement, and they'll be like, oh, this is relating to this part of his mental process, or this is relating to like this thing that was going on. There is so much like built in there that people aren't going to notice on a first viewing and will take like a few times. And I think that's why it was great to have like a live premiere as well, because everybody's getting their raw reactions of seeing the main things. But when they go back to watch it again, boom, they're going to be able to see so many different things and analyze each part. And some of the funniest like silly things, like goddamn, just like the computer and stuff like that.
The computer with the gorilla on it. Okay, chat, I'm going to tell you a funny behind the scenes story. So that scene, what I wanted, so in that scene where it's basically about me, that's like a day in the life. That's me losing track of time all the time. That's me losing track of all these different things that I have to do. When I am stuck inside, when I'm like depressed like that, I lose track of everything. That bit where it zooms in on the PC. Originally, I had the idea that because it's like, oh, I've been doing a collab and then I go to the bathroom and zone out, whatever it is, I had the idea that that was supposed to show a stream ending screen that I've forgotten to hit end stream on, and I wanted to have like you chat in the background saying like me for gore, blah 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 blah. But when I gave that to Shanzi and I said, hey, can you put this on the screen for me? Or can I put, here's all of the scenes with the computer, can you put something on the screen? I forgot to tell him that. And he was like, well, I don't know what to do with this, and just put the gorilla on there. And I was like, holy fuck, that's so funny. And in the end, I was so busy over the past few days, and if I had streamed again to make that waiting room so that you could all do that, it wouldn't have been my 520-second stream. So I think overall, the gorilla probably was the right thing to have there, because yeah, a lot of the time, just having a gorilla on there with, I wonder what it would be like over the top of it is just the funniest shit ever. And I'm glad that it has this overall like weird like comedic tone underneath all the seriousness.
Dude, you did
great.
Such a good job on that tone, because that is hard to hit in a smart way. And my God, so much of it was so serious. Some of it was so raw. Like you could definitely feel every feeling you wanted to express, and feel like if people watched you, they know where a lot of that came from. Meanwhile, there's those moments where the fucking judge drops out the huge long list of parchment. The fucking comedy sounds. It was so good. Oh my God. There was so many moments like that where it just took you out. Little behind the scenes from like the basics as well. Like just we were doing watch along while this was going on. The people who like finished Valorant and a couple of other people were watching along, and there were so many times we just burst out laughing, and then there were so many times we were just like, oh man, Vox can sing now. That's terrifying.
I know, right? I know. I'm surprised as well. Like, it's the amount of like, I think the process of learning how to sing is the weirdest one, because you just you're just in the booth, you're in the studio, and you're and I guess my advice to anyone who is like wanting to try and figure it out, I have this habit, right, where I will just set up something I want to do creatively. I'll say, I'm going to do this. And I get the idea in my head. I'm like, man, that would be cool. And I just say, I'm going to do that. I never, ever, 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 ever stop and think, can I actually do that? I never ask myself that question, because at the time that I came up with like the concepts for those songs, and when I asked Unit and Diego and later Valley to work on that music together, I, at that time, absolutely could never in a million years have recorded that. Also, by the way, a fun tidbit about those songs. So not all of it, but a lot of it, the bulk of the recording was done with Mane-san in Japan. We went to a recording studio. Mane-san is a really, really talented singer and coached me a lot.
I didn't know that about your manager either. That's kind of cool to know.
Yeah.
Our managers are so freaking talented in so many ways.
They are. Sometimes I wonder, like, you know, are you in the right? Maybe you should be up here with us, buddy. Like, you know,
my manager should be a dancer. Dude pops off.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's so fun. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So I've actually completely forgotten. What was I talking about before?
Sorry, you were talking about the music and recording it in front of your Mane-san.
Yes. So, this is so Mane-san was amazing at helping me do it, and gave me so much coaching. And there were so many times where it was like, oh, you want to try doing this? Open your mouth wider. You want to try kind of leaning your head back and making sure that you can kind of connect with this muscle and this and that. And I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. Then, on one of the days of filming, I think it was either the scene where the tentacles had me pinned to the ground, or when I got yanked down the stairs. I bruised a rib. I'm not sure which one it was. I'm not sure if I broke it or bruised it. It didn't immediately hurt that much, so I think it was a bruise. But after that, it hurt a lot to breathe all the way in. So not only were all of those vocals recorded with my 100-day cough, which made it difficult to breathe all the way in, and sometimes I couldn't hit certain notes, most of those lyrics were recorded with a bruised rib, which made it incredibly difficult to breathe in as well. And it was all edited on a laptop. So I'm just telling you guys, Tony Stark built Minotaur in a cave with a box of scraps, okay? Like, that, there are some things that I do need to give myself credit for, and getting those performances done with that many ailments was definitely, because I remember, I can tell you this now, chat, I can tell you this now. So do you remember back when, I talked about having some health problems a few months ago. One of them was like a heart-related thing. That's a different story. That's all fine. There's nothing to worry about there. I was just a bit concerned, but it turned out it was just like, you know, it was nothing to worry about, a bit of a scare. But another thing was, I said I want to avoid permanent vocal damage, and I was genuinely worried about this. I'll tell you what my thought process was, because I went to the doctor and I told them, this was like not long before we were supposed to film the 3D, and I told them like, hey, I have to record a lot of music very soon, and this cough is not going away. What should I do? And they said, well, what you should do is try to rest your voice as much as possible. And so I said, okay. And I sat there and I did not talk for like 5 days. And I just sat there and held it in. And then the next day I tried to go back to the recording studio to try to record some of it. Still had my cough. Didn't help at all. And I just feel like a fucking idiot. But in the end, thankfully, we were able to, you know, to film it all with like an earlier version of the music. And then I kept adding to it. Over time with different takes and different stuff like that. So it turned out great in the end, but it was a really, really difficult process. I'm just so glad it all worked out. Hearing those songs sound as good as they do, it's crazy. I've got a funny story. The first time I ever tried to record... Sorry, I'm talking so much. First time...
No, you're good. This is your time. I'm here to listen. I'm like, yo, I'm getting a view behind the scenes. This is great.
I guess so.
I'm glad we can finally talk about this together, because, yeah, you've been telling me a little behind the scenes, and I've always been like, that's so cool. He's a real fucking director now. Yeah, it's insane. So, yeah, it's nice to listen to this.
You're such a fucking softie. Oh, my God. But... So the first time I remember, this was literally the day before I got my cough, which was really, really terrible timing. So the day before I got my cough was around when I was about to go. It was right around when I was about to head back to Japan for my sort of journey, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get there. At the time, I was just sort of, I was walking around and stuff, and I thought, I need to record the vocals for the music for the 3D. And so I hired a recording studio, and I did not have anyone to help me. I just thought, I can do this. And I went there, and I tried recording He Who Awaits Eternity, the cowboy song, and it just did not sound good. It just did not sound good at all. When I was running it by myself, everything I heard in my own head, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if my voice is meant for this. And I was trying to sing it, and every time I recorded, there was something, and I was like, God, what is it about this song? And I was like, I was about to tell the guys, I was like, I feel like I had to change this. I don't know if I can even reach this. I don't know if I can do this. And then I was like, okay, I'm an actor. I was like, I'm an actor. I need to get into character. And in that recording studio was a guitar. So purely for the vibe, I picked up a guitar and slung it around my neck and just held it in my hands to see if that would help me with the vibe, with my projection, and with my confidence. It did not. It did not work at all. I just felt like a fucking idiot stood there with a guitar that I didn't know how to play.
Okay, but I'm sure you looked fucking badass.
I probably did. I didn't feel badass, though. I felt stupid. And so I was just like, oh, man. And I recorded a little bit of it, but I just sort of thought it's not where it needs to be. And so I kept trying to find opportunities to re-record it, but obviously that was right before I went on my big pilgrimage, and I went up and I had all of those, lessons, all of that introspection, and I didn't have the time. I had a recording studio where I tried doing little bits, but I was worried about my voice, and then it was all down to, literally as we were filming, I was also finding time for sessions to go out and keep recording, and Mane-san was always there and always coaching me, and eventually we got a really good performance out of me. And it was like I was saying, I always come up with ideas, and I never ask myself whether or not I can do it. And at the beginning of this, I could not, but now I can. And I think that that's a great way. So like I was saying at the very beginning of this massive tangent, if anyone has an interest in a thing you want to try and get good at, if anyone has like a hobby that you wish you could do, whether you want to draw, whether you want to sing, whether you want to do whatever, there's something that my strategy is literally to just get creatively invested in something and set it a little bit in the future and assume by that time I will be able to do it. Because in the process of forcing yourself, like, people are relying on me, the dates are set in stone, I have to do this. By forcing myself to do that, I just kind of kept going, and eventually it was good, and I learned, and I am far better of a singer now than I was before I started. And that's pretty cool, right? So, yeah.
Reminds me of the quote from Star Wars Yoda. Do or do not. There is no try. You want to try to do something? Don't think about trying to do it and possibly failing. Just do it. See what happens.
Exactly.
If you're doing something, you're doing it. Even if you're just making your first attempt, it's just the first step on a journey. So you are doing it. And you did do it, brother.
Shoot for the stars. If you
miss,
you will only fall so far. And with this whole thing, it's like, yeah, this is my first time working on my own choreographed dance. This is my first time rapping. This is my first time writing bars. This is my first time working on a song that's like in a higher range. This is my first time.
That's what I really wanted to say. Sorry, I'm going to cut in right there.
Go for it.
Because I've told you multiple times, and I'm pretty sure I've shared this on Twitter, that like my like For You music on YouTube Music like includes your New Sidonia song.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I fucking love New Sidonia, and your cover of it is like, honestly, in my opinion, I won't say anything. I just love it. I love it. It's one of the things that I listen to often. It's up there with like Etheria by Enna and Zali's like Love is a Sickness or something. I forget what it's called. That.
Yeah, God.
Those are all in my main playlist. So yeah, I wasn't like trying to say you couldn't sing before, because you could. It's just what I was really blown away by was, like you just said, the higher vocal range. That second song you did, I just remember starting to hear you sing and being like, how the fuck does this man with this crazy deep voice hit this note?
I don't know.
And actually keep them like consistent rather than like going all shaky from going to that kind of different tone.
I don't know. I just kind of went for it. And I think what was really interesting about the final song, Hand of Daedalus, was that was originally written for a much lower register But in the end, I found that when I sang that, it sounded kind of inconsistent. I think that with massive projection, trying to force like a bit of a lower range, it made it sound a little bit inconsistent. So I kind of brought it up a little bit. There's another version of that song, another sort of set of takes where my vocal range on that is much higher, and then the final one is kind of somewhere in the middle. And I'm really glad for how we did that, because what mattered most on that last song was projection and getting that much volume. It's just amazing how much I learned. You know, if like for you, I'm really, really flattered that you find New Sidonia to be like one of your favorites. If I had to,
it's so good.
Just kind of thinking about it now, if I had to say which, like, for me, there are two songs made by NIJISANJI members that I actively listen to, and that's Maze by Ike. I listen to that one quite a lot, and I think I really sort of got into that song when we were rehearsing for AR Live, because obviously he does Maze for that, and he did it first. Watching him rehearse and listening to that song, I was like, man, this goes really hard, and I was listening to that. But then
that one and Blue Light are incredible. God
both
damn.
really amazing. And then I think one that I really think about is Distant, Finana and Kyo. I feel like that is like actual song of the summer level quality. Like, I really think that song goes so hard. You could bump that anywhere in the world and people would vibe to it. I genuinely
you just play that at the club, but people will love it, and they won't know it's made by 2D anime people.
They won't know it's made by VTubers. Isn't that the weirdest shit ever? Like, that's so cool that we can do that. And I feel like for music for me in the future, obviously I have other plans. I want to kind of like really develop that and keep working on stuff. The two things that I've thought about is like producing a song that has like, that's easily bumpable. I think is something that I want to try and do, because I feel like How to Get Away with Murder is like the most kind of funky, easy listening song that you could like play around people. But even then, it's long, it's emotional, it's got varied kind of like tones and vibes and stuff. It's like it's definitely funky, but it's a lot. I'd like to do something that's just kind of like funky, but like that's easygoing and that's just like really addictive to listen to. And another thing I was telling chat earlier is that I want to rap more, because that was like
you fucking killed it when it came to the
I was surprised. I was like, okay, I mean, it took a lot, because writing those lyrics, no one on the planet will ever read the earlier versions of those lyrics. Ever. In the script I sent you, there might have been some old ones, and I want you to know that if you ever show those to anyone, I will track you down and I will kill you.
I kept that script until we finished recording stuff. I deleted it. I am terrified of... This is the thing. Everybody calls me Folger Holland because I'm always like hinting at anything that I'm working on, even if it's in like a year to go. But anybody else's stuff, I'm always like very careful. Like, the fucking Luxiem thing that was supposed to announce your 3-day debut.
Almost in the panic.
It was supposed to happen on Saturday, and I was like, I had on my schedule for like 4 days before that, because I planned my schedules beforehand. Voxy's 3D, go be there. And then like literally Sunday, I was like, I don't think I remember. Like, people would be like blowing up on Twitter about that announcement. So I checked to make sure, and it was like, it was delayed, and I was like, oh, thank God I checked. So I just changed it to secret.
If you just
don't worry, you'll like it.
Oh my God. But then again,
if I had just posted it, I think I would have gotten in a lot of trouble.
No. I mean, little leaks like that, I think can sometimes add to it in a way, you know? I think little leaks like that can be good. It's like, wait a minute, did you guys hear about the what is it? The 3? No way, he deleted it. Oh my God, he deleted it. And then later on they're watching it like, we know what's about to happen. And then, you know,
it could become a little bit.
Even in the worst case scenario, I would have been fine with that. I think it would have been fun.
I know you would have been fine with that. I would have fucking hated myself.
No.
That's like one thing I'm always very careful of. If I ever slip up and say something where I'm like, oh no, they haven't talked about that yet, I'm always like, God, I'm an idiot. Have you talked, I mean, this isn't behind the scenes thing. This is me just being curious myself. A lot of original songs in this.
Yeah.
Are they going to be available in different places?
Yeah, I want to work on that in a bit. I'm going to just upload them to YouTube straight up with, versions of the music videos from the stream, and then hopefully get them onto TuneCore and Spotify as well. Because it would be a shame if all of that work went into them just existing purely within the. There was a time where I was thinking about not doing that, because it was up until so recently that like there was a lot of work that went into making those songs work, and me working so hard on improving my singing that for a while, I was like kind of worried that they weren't going to sound all that good, you know, purely because I was worried that my vocal abilities weren't going to be up to par by the time that it came to release them. But then when it did, I'm actually really happy with them. So I definitely will be putting them out on YouTube to start with, and then I'll be putting them on hopefully putting them on TuneCore and so streaming services as well, because that'd be cool, guys.
That will be cool. You've got like a whole fucking album. You made a movie and an album.
I just dropped 4 original songs within an hour, guys. Don't say I don't give you anything. It was really, I remember chatting with you about this. It was really funny seeing the hype leading up to the 3D coming out and people saying like, you know,
the guitar.
You're saying like, you know, I wonder if he's going to do a cover.
That was so funny.
And I was sat there like, oh my God, these people are not ready for how much we've done. Like, it's actually kind of ridiculous. I mean, I'm glad that I forced myself to do that much, but fuck me. I don't know if you guys remember. When I retweeted an old tweet of mine saying, fuck me and my unnecessarily big ideas. Why do I do this to myself? Because on the day when we were about to start filming, I was up 5 a.m. because I think I had like 2 hours of sleep. I'd gone to sleep at 11. I woke up at like 2, could not get back to sleep because I was so nervous. And I went to Konbini. I tweeted as well that I didn't have the pork noodles I like, and I was like, fuck. And I remember I sat back I was so stressed because of all we had to do. This is before anything was confirmed. I didn't know how any of it worked. I didn't know how any of it would go. I just sat. I went back to my hotel room at the time, and I sat with my noodles. They didn't have my pork noodles. It was different noodles. I sat there and I listened to this little song, and I literally just sat there and I started crying because I was so stressed. I was like, oh, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I did this to myself. The 3D debut is supposed to be fun. Why am I putting myself through all of this stuff? Why did I make myself do this? But then in the end, doing all that turned out to be like something I'm really grateful that I did, because I needed to get those feelings out there in a way that felt right, and I needed to get, you know, creatively to push all of this stuff out there, because it had been really one of the main things keeping me going while I took such a huge break off of stream, doing these songs, and you know, my prediction, my sort of, you know, what was in my mind is something that I wanted to do for these songs. It was something that I would think about all the time, and that would be something to look forward to. I'll tell chat, all right, that so the songs, like I said earlier, all the songs were not based on but inspired by some other music that I had been listening to at around when I was writing the script. So the first one, He Who Awaits Eternity, is based on a song called World Ender by Lord Huron. That song,
love Lord Huron.
That's a song from a long time ago that a buddy of mine, one of my roommates, sent me and was like, this kind of reminds me of you. And I was like, how? And it's like, and the lyrics are literally like, it's like I'll never bleed and I won't ever rage, I'll never see the embrace of the grave. And it was like, oh yeah, that is about me. And so I heard that and I gave that to Unit Zero. And I remember Unit Zero said, dude, I have never done anything even remotely like this in my life. I have no idea what I'm going to do. And then a few weeks later, he was like, here's the instrumental. And it was like basically just what you hear. It was just what you hear. He just like locked in. And I've had conversations with him saying, and he's told me like, yeah, he said he was really grateful for being added to this project because he felt like he grew a lot as a musician as well. And that's just the best feeling for me, because I grew so much as a singer and I was worried like, these people are doing so much work for my project. But then he was like, no, man, I'm growing. He said he was growing so much as a musician. He was really grateful to just have work to do, and that made me feel really good. The second song generally just comes from like how much I love acoustic music, but the reference I gave them was this song Cormorant Bird by Fionn Reagan. I remember listening to that for the first time back in like 2017. Oddly enough, I listened to that for the first time right after I watched The Last Jedi for the first time, so it always makes me think about Reylo, which is quite funny. And then How to Get Away with Murder was a combination of how many different songs. I can actually go back to the Discord server we had where I sent them all the references. What was it? Oh god, there's so much here. So many different takes and so much stuff. Oh yeah, here it is.
I'm gonna say it's got to be so many messages at this point from how long you guys were working on this.
So the basis I gave them was I wanted something that was similar to Let It Happen by Tame Impala, you know, because the main structural thing was like the first thing I saw of it was like I want something that's very moody and aggressive, and I want something that feels like it's motivated by anger. I wanted something that felt like it was about, you know, me. I wanted to sing about how frustrated I was by how how the world didn't make sense and how it didn't know how to respond to a mythical creature being real, you know, and I was like angry about that. And then the idea for that song has the guitar solo at the end, and I was like, give me something that sounds surreal and techno-y and funky that ends with a ripping guitar solo, and I'm gonna do like a dance for that. And that was where it began. and I loved doing that dance. It was very difficult to learn, and I want to do more.
I loved that. I loved like especially the bit where you go like kind of zombie or puppet mode, like your shoulders go up and your arms fall down.
So all of the dancing in that scene was developed by a choreographer that was Ayaka Nishi-san. She developed that and came in to coach me on the day. But what is really funny about that as well is that the zombie bit, that was my idea, is that like during that part of the dances I said like, can I try this of like getting a spear in my back and like stumbling to my feet like that, and I'd really like to try some more stuff like that, you know, hopefully with more time to learn it, because at the end like a lot of it came down to the wire in the end, and I think if I had had more time I would have liked to do more, and I would have liked to do something that was even harder to learn.
And now that you've seen like some of the technologies that are used, because this is like different from what you were used to kind of thing. This is all completely new to you. Now that you know some ideas of that, you could have more ideas the next time you come back to this and what you actually want to do and what kind of technical things you can achieve.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of technical things, holy shit, all the 2D effects on top of the 3D were mind-blowing.
Oh, okay. I need to tell the story about the list. So Shanzi Cole is amazing, and he took care of the tentacles for me. So the tentacles were animated by Studio Yuriki, and then Shanzi Cole needed to go in and he needed to mask and motion track them into the scene. And that, I can't imagine how painstaking and difficult that must have been, but he did it on time and he did it really, really well. That list that rolls out of my hand, the judge's hand, right? That, holy fuck. So I decided, you know what, I'll just do this myself. How hard can it be? I know how to make an opacity mask. I know how to do that. Sure, why not? Little did I know that for some reason, Premiere Pro really doesn't like doing an opacity mask, because remember this is shot at 60 frames per second, and I needed to update the mask around my fingers so that the little list fit into my hands. I needed to update that mask 60 times every second. And every single frame that I updated that mask and I moved it to the next frame so that it would accurately fit inside my fingers, it crashed. Every time. Every single frame. Sometimes I would get through 1.5, and then it would crash and I would have to go back to the start of the last one, saving every frame, and it crashed every frame to the point where in like the latter half of it, what I did, I exported all of the frames into Photoshop as images, and I just did all of the masking work there and then just sent them back in. And so what you see in that scene, for about half of me picking up the judge version of me picking up the list and then holding it out, that is just still images that I put in Photoshop and then sent back in. And it took... I would have been so much more fucking comfortable with the release of this thing. I would have been so much more like, sitting back, it's all done, if I hadn't made myself do that. If I had just like given it to Shanzikul and asked him to do that, but I was like, he's so busy with the tentacles, I need to do this myself. And God, hours and hours and hours going to that. Thankfully, this was all done after I was back home, so I could have edited that part on my computer, which had like the power to do that. But for whatever reason, Premiere Pro was like, I don't like doing masking. I'm gonna crash now. See ya. And I was just really upset about that. But yeah, I love that bit. It was really funny. And Unit Zero also, Unit Zero did a lot of the random little musical bits. So it was the Seinfeld sounding sitcom jingle when the list comes out.
That made me burst out laughing so much. God damn.
I love that. I loved like being able to take the relative, like the dark, moody red lighting and the very serious, imposing scenery, and then adding in this completely out of nowhere sitcom bit just to kind of add to how weird that those emotions feel sometimes for me. And then as well the sitcom transition or the Family Guy transition where it goes into the dinner scene where it's got that that was him as well. Obviously the beach version of your theme song, and then the evil fucking rendition of Jiro's theme in minor for when the horse says "My Lord." That I remember I asked him to do that, and I said I want the audience to I want to bait them into laughing, and then I want them to feel grossed out and sad that they laughed. And I want people to ask, what was he thinking? Why was he doing that? And I was like, I just need this. I want the most terrifying sound you can get. And then the he really went harder than I was expecting to with that. That's probably one of my favorite pieces from the whole thing. I was really, really happy with that.
The music was phenomenal. So it was like right on the end when the guitar starts playing. That shit was just so powerful.
Yeah. I mean, Unit Zero primarily is a guitarist, and he did all the guitar work. At least I think all the guitar work for Visions of a Life, the second song. I think that there's a session musician for that one. But Unit Zero for songs 1 and song 4, he was the one who did the guitar for that, and incredibly talented. Also for you guys will have inevitably heard the intro music that I've been using on stream for a little while, the sort of the metal remix of The Man from Omar from the Demon Hungers. That guitar solo is Unit Zero as well. He recomposed that whole thing. So yeah, he's incredibly talented and just so friendly. Such a wonderful guy as well. I'd recommend him to anyone.
That's awesome to hear. I did want to jump on the thing that you said earlier about like artists growing with us as we get them to work on projects that we're interested in, because I feel like we've both been through that a lot with the artists that we've requested to do things, even our own mama who's had to do things very out of his own comfort range. Yeah. Keeps like supporting us through these things anyway. But yeah, no, I feel the
Lamb Mama, like, it's like, Lamb Mama, I'm a big hairy guy with a beard now. And Lamb was like, okay.
If I have to, God, the things I do for my kids. Oh my God. That as well. And just, oh man. VTubers, like, honestly, live or die by the artists that, support us in so many different levels and so many different ways. And especially when it came to like this 3D production, there was so many people working on it. So yeah, it's just nice to feel like, in fact, I even had my Mane-san, baby girl Mane-san, reach out to me and just straight up say he was just so honored that he got to be part of this as well. I know. And so honored that he got his own thank credit, and he was just like, this might be one of the best things I've ever been a part of.
Right. Like,
and so you've made so many people so happy with this.
Yeah, he told me too, on like at the time, just kind of like, it was like, I'm really grateful that you wanted to help me be a part of this, and and he works so hard to make sure that Fuchan could be a part of this. It's funny how we have nicknames, because really these are just nicknames that our managers have given to each other, like baby girl Mane-san and pregnant man emoji Mane-san, which is my manager. It's so funny how that's a joke from another manager, that every time pregnant man emoji Mane-san sends a message, this other manager responds with reacts with the pregnant man emoji, and after a while we all started doing
Girl Boss Mane-san.
That's Girl Boss Mane. That's
who is another nickname.
Girl Boss Mane-san always gave the pregnant man react to the pregnant man emoji Mane-san, which gave him that name. And baby girl Mane-san, he just is that way. Like there's no other way of describing it. You just have to picture that kind of a person, and it fills in your mind. Just such a wonderful guy. He's
one of the best people I've ever met. I know, like, the first time he ever got like any kind of shine in like outside of his actual role was just like everybody being like, oh my God, he's the fairy of Akuma. And then people know him as like the fairy Mane-san, and then he very quickly turned into baby girl Mane-san, because he's done so much for so many different people.
Done so much. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to head out now, because I need to get a nap before like the other things start happening. I got 3 hours of sleep last night.
Fair enough.
That was incredible. You did so good. Thank you. Honestly, thank you for making me a part of it. And thank you, like I said, it meant so much to like so many people who were part of it. You made like so many people's dreams come true. But thank you for that. I hope you keep creating incredible things in the future, brother.
Thank you so much, Fuchan. Thank you for being a part of it. I'll see you around. You're such a
I loved it.
softie. I love you too.
Oh, it's okay. Your whole clan died. Fuck you. Bye-bye.
You tin can. That fucking guy. God, I love him so much. But yeah, that's it. That's my 3D debut. I'm officially back now. I had my time in the mountains. I had my time feeling like a monster, and I put all of that into a piece of art, and I did it because I wanted to say how much I care about you and how happy I am to be back. So thank you all so much for your patience. Thank you for waiting for me, and thank you for welcoming me back in such open arms. To everyone who sent Aka Supers today, really, really grateful to all of you. To any super chat, anyone who's tuned in, anyone who's done anything to interact with this in any way, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me, as a crazed artist, an audience that will always, that will always support me. I can't be grateful enough for what you've done for me. But yeah, for the people who sent super chats, I'll be thanking them all tomorrow in a super chat thanking stream, just to make sure that I can get all of it, because I am so grateful for everything that you've done for me. Thank you. It's thanks to you that I get to do all of this, and because I had the funds to commission so many different assets for this project, and none of it will be possible without you. And thank you so much. What time does the summer jam start? Because I want to raid into that. Because that's big. Those guys have been working very, very hard. 3D. Oh yes. Management have talked about getting some subtitles for the 3D done. I am going to. So they're not sure if they're able to do it on their end yet. So basically, I'm going to wait a little bit. If they let me know that it's possible for them to do it, then they will do it. And if not, I will try and find some help to get a translation done myself. Also, something else to say about this is that after a little while, it's going to be re-edited a little bit and given some new subtitles, and it's going to be uploaded on Bilibili with some Chinese subtitles, which is going to be pretty cool. And I know that staff are going to handle that, so you've got that to look forward to, as well as the Demon Hunger's copy, which is also going to be uploaded to Bilibili with Chinese text in the speech bubbles, and I'm going to be working on that soon. Obviously, I couldn't for a long time because I was away. I wasn't around my computer, which had all the files on it. But now I'm back, and so I'll work on making sure I get that done and getting that done in the near future. So thank you very much for your patience with that. Yippee, 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 yippee. Yippee, 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 yippee. Ah, yay. We did it. Guys, we did it. 3D debut is done. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. You know, I was gonna end stream. I kind of don't want to. I'll be real with you, I kind of don't want to. I'm so happy to be back. All of this stuff is out in the open now. I don't have any more secrets to keep. I don't have any more shit to be working on, apart from like the odd thing, you know, for way down the line. I'm back now. So you know what? We got 2.5 hours until Summer Jam. Why don't we just chill out for a bit? Huh? Why don't we just game for a little bit? Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun, guys? Someone said RuneScape. I mean, I was... La Mama did art of me! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. La Mama did art of me. Oh, La Mama made my chest look so sexy. Oh my god. Yay. Yay. Oh. Yeah, I'm happy. I have so much to like process now. God, this is a really weird feeling. It's like oh, hang on. They got the AI summary. They got the AI summary on Twitter for the 3D. It's trending. It's trending. Thank you for helping it trend. Fucking Grok has written something. Let's read what it is, shall we? On July 6th, 2024, Vox made his 3D debut, which was met with overwhelming enthusiasm and praise from fans. The event, marked by the hashtag Vox3D, showcased Vox singing and the high quality of the 3D models used, capturing his expressions of performance in a way that deeply resonated with the audience. Fans expressed their excitement and admiration through social media, highlighting the impressive nature of the debut and anticipation for live performance. Grok, you did well. I was expecting something funny. I was expecting you to get it wrong, like to say that I was a Don't Starve character or something. Oh my god. I'm reading all the tweets now. I'm reading all the tweets now. Everyone's being so sweet. I can't handle this. E. I don't know. I've got so many feelings right now. I've got so many feelings. I can't believe it. I guess I can start thanking some super chats now. Smith, thank you very much. Akka de? Is that de? Or is that ne? Akane-chan, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Congratulations on 3D debut. Thank you so much. Tiwa Benny, thank you. Online, thank you very, very much. Scarlet Shadow, thank you. Zia, thank you very much. Jin, thank you for the Akka Super. Jin Kazama. Tokito, thank you for the Akka Super. Stella, thank you for the Akka Super. Seta TK, thank you very much. Tomato Soup, thank you for the Akka Super. Tame, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Studying English, good luck. Your English is great. Aoi, thank you for the Akka Super. Felt your tenderness, thank you. Mimi, thank you for 2 Akka Supers. Thank you so much. Otsukare. Otsukare-sama, thank you so much. Shio, thank you for the Akka Super. Crystal C, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Thank you for bringing us a great show. I really tried. Thank you. I really tried. It was not easy, but we got it. We got it in the end. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of what I and what everyone did to bring this all to life. Float, thank you for the Akka Super. Always proud of you. Thank you. Maru Maru, thank you for the Akka Super. Proud to be your Kamiochi. Jin, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Jin Kazama, sorry. Coco Snow, thank you for the Akka Super. Tomoe Su, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Tsisting, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Sunshine, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Cheling, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Huyo, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Frederic, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Yorutu Aul, thank you very much for the Akka Super. Remy, thank you for the gifted. Efita, thank you for the Akka Super. Thank you so much. Utahime, thank you for the gifted. Leaf, thank you for the Akka Super. Jia Yinglin, thank you for the gifted members. And Rinaria, thank you for the Akka Super. Bull, more like a goat. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. But yeah, that happened. That happened. Jin Kazama. I love that video where it's got all of the polls that they do on YouTube of like which character would win, and no matter which character it was, it's Jin Kazama. Everyone's being so sweet to me. Everyone's saying such nice things. I don't know, it feels so surreal. It feels so surreal to have this all finally be out in the open. I can't believe it. Ooh, that's not RuneScape music. La la la, Audio Jungle, Audio Jungle. Phoenix Chihang, thank you for the Akasupa. Thank you so much. We've seen Brian Cox talking about Tekken lore. I have not. I know it exists though. I haven't gotten around to it yet. I was going back to my playlist and I clicked on the wrong thing. I was about to play fucking Eminem. I want to do another karaoke soon. And I'd like to do a karaoke with more, I'd like to do a karaoke with more rap music in it, because now that I've practiced a little bit, I really, really enjoy doing it, and I want to do some fun stuff with that. I've been listening to a lot of that kind of stuff. Karaoke with those songs. Now that would be fun, because those songs are comprised of so many different sessions, so much. You can really hear me learning in those songs, because there was so many different bits where I would record the whole thing, and then there would be bits that maybe didn't sound as good, and I would go back and try again and try again and try again. So it's like a collection of all the best takes, but doing them off rip, oh man. I feel like Hand of Daedalus I probably couldn't even do off rip. I could, but it would be hard. It would be hard to do off rip, you know. What's really hard about Hand of Daedalus is near the, so you know, after I open the door and you've got the it's got the guitar playing, right? In the instrumental, that same guitar plays right before "Oh, legend that I will ride with you," which, by the way, that line was different originally. It was just a very weird sounding line that I couldn't really get right, so we changed it literally 2 days ago. It used to be, "Oh, a direction that I will follow through." And I kind of, something about really singing that and projecting it, I kept running out of breath. I could not. I was getting to through and I was going through. So we changed that around into that one, and I really like how that came around. I really like how that came around. But yeah, we were working on this down to the wire. But yeah, that, and so it's like I was saying, the guitar from that part, "Oh, a legend," that the guitar before that is the exact same as the guitar before the other O's. So when I was recording, I kept doing the wrong O. Whenever we was trying to do that line, I would go, "Oh," and I'd be like, wait, shit, that's the wrong one. And I remember while I was recording with Unit, he kept accidentally playing my lines back to me really sped up, and I sounded like Alvin and the Chipmunks. So I'd just be recovering. I'm like, oh man, I'm out of breath. Oh dude, I need a moment. He's like, that's fine. Then I would hear, and I would just get I was like, you know, it would really scare me. Christmas time is here. Brute, thank you very much. Eating, thank you very much. HC, thank you very much. Nicole, thank you for the Akasupa. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Masato, thank you very much for the Akasupa. I want to do a karaoke. I could probably do some of those songs. I want to do songs like, well, I don't know if I should spoil. I try to keep so much stuff a surprise. I feel like that's good. That's good. Got to keep stuff close to my chest and then reveal it when it's time. Because then what if I, you know, what if it gets around to it? What if it gets around to it and then I just don't really want to do it? Then I'm letting people down. I don't want to do that. Everything is a surprise. Nightcore. Goni, thank you very much. Ting, thank you very much. The Akasupa, thank you so much. Thank you. So that was good. I really surprised myself, with how much I kind of came around on that last song, because I was really struggling. I was really struggling to sing that one while I was in the booth, and I was really struggling to sing that one until I came back home, and I had my old booth back that I could record vocals with by myself. You're our superstar. Thank you. But Eshan, thank you very much for the Akasupa, and I'm fortunate to be around you. What am I trying to say right now? But yeah, it was tricky. And then I'm really surprised that it came out sounding as good as it did, especially the second half and how well I managed to project. Because I remember listening to the first few takes we did, and I was like, I don't know. It kind of doesn't sound like I'm really singing to an audience, and then kept doing it, and I was like, okay, that's the one, and it was so fun. It was so fun, so fun to learn that much and to do so much to try and live up to that level, you know, of how much I wanted to do. And the music that they had made. These guys had written this music, they had made these lyrics with me in mind, and I wanted to live up to the level that they thought I could do. They gave me these lyrics, and I was like, fuck it, I can do it. I can do it. And I never asked them to slow it down or change it so I could actually make it, apart from that one line. The rest of it, I was like, bruh, just get me in there. Just get me in there, and I'm gonna do it. The first song really goes hard, and I'm glad we managed to make like a goofy cowboy song that actually goes kind of hard. Dude, that note I hit at the end, kind of can't believe I managed to do that. Oh man, and all of the mixes, because everybody mixed. Valley did the mixing for How to Get Away with Murder, but Unit mixed his songs, and Diego mixed the second song. And they did so much great work, and they did so much great work putting it all together. Valley in particular was very creative, because How to Get Away with Murder is such a mad song. It's such a crazy, crazy song with so much weird shit going on, so many changes in tone, so many shifts around. She worked really hard and added in so much stuff and so many unique original ideas. She and I came up with a lot of the backing vocals. So if you listen to the rap parts, you can hear kind of people preaching to the choir a little bit. So she came up with the idea that I should whisper. So if you listen closely underneath it, you can hear me whisper rapping, "I only light up all generations, so I avoided all conversation about my violin inclination," like underneath it, right? But then also I was like, now have you heard a little song called Meet the Grahams? I was like, why don't we go, you lied about your family, you lied about your illness, you lied about your surgery. So let's add like a big end of sentence like word, and says like the sentence ends with like someone preaching to the choir, because I'm surrounded by copies of myself, right? So I kind of wanted this insane core sort of, and then she and I came up with this idea together, and she really helped me figure that out of like, it's like violent inclinations. You can hear it in the background. Maybe when we're doing the behind the scenes tomorrow, I'll play some of my raw vocals, and I'll play some of those. But I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the best ones, because there are so many. There are so many takes. So I mentioned that the Hand of Daedalus wasn't complete until 2 days ago. And that is true, because Unit and I were constantly iterating on it and trying to get the best sounding takes we could. The final session we did, it was like, listen, this is the last day we've got. We need to get this right. So we got into so I got in my booth, set up, and we were recording for so long that I started to get lightheaded. I was like, I can't like I can't get enough breath to finish this line. I can usually do this. What's going on? And then suddenly I was like, oh wait, I think the air in my booth is starting to get a bit thin. I need to take a step outside. And then I came back and I did that. But like that session was like 3 to 4 hours of just trying to tackle a short few lines and getting them just perfect. And now that I've gotten them, I feel like I can do them every time. It just took a long time to really practice. It's like high intensity practice, you know, where they say, okay, if you practice 5 minutes a day of something over a year, you're going to get really good at it. Well, me, I practiced for like hours and hours every day for a short amount of time. And I feel like that was the practice I needed to really get that shit down. It just, yeah, it took a while, but we got it in the end. Snowtaku, thank you very much. Tarushka, thank you very much. I'm gonna combust. I'm proud of all of you. I'm proud of all of you. There's so much going on. Ah. Ah. Ah, yippee. Yeah. Sorry, I just keep getting distracted. All the tweets are being really, really sweet and lovely. It's just so nice. And it's so nice and it's so sweet, especially after so much time. After spending so much time making this as good as it could be and spending so many long, sweaty hours. The day that I locked in the hardest, It was while I was editing on my laptop, and I think it was while I was doing the fight scene. We'll talk more about the fight scene in the behind the scenes, because that was so fun. That was so much fun. But we'll talk more about the fight scene another time. But it's while I was editing that. Editing a fight scene is fucking hard. And something interesting, actually. I had already knew a lot about editing fight scenes because I had a long time ago made a little film with some buddies that was a fight scene. I'd learned a lot about like editing. So I'll teach you a little trick, right? If you're ever in such a bizarre circumstance that you need to edit an action scene, what really helps, right, is taking right from the moment of impact. So right in the moment where the swords hit, or where a character punches a character, or whatever the moment of impact is, go in and chop out like 1 or 2 frames. If you're working on 24 frames a second, like a film, chop out 1 frame. For me, 60 frames a second, I chopped out 2. That, at 60 frames per second, 2 missing frames is not noticeable at all. And what it runs into is that you get a really snappy movement. So whenever that sword hits, right, it really kind of concentrates it. And I'll say something else, right? I went into that with so much confidence, and we had these 3 guys come in, real action experts, and they taught us all of this choreography, and they brought us through this whole sequence, and it was so much fun. But I'll tell you something, right? I have a lot of experience with swordplay. I've been fighting people with a sword my whole life, and I have lived a very long life. Filming an action scene versus being in an actual fight is so different. I was lost for so much of this, especially considering so many of them were communicating in Japanese, and I would be like, what's going on? Like, it was a very different experience where when I'm fighting, I can think on my feet and I can do whatever I like, and I can think, all right, well, this is gonna keep me alive, right? In a moment where it's like, okay, not only do you need to look like you're fighting, but what you also need to do is make sure that no one actually gets hurt, which is the opposite of what you want if you're actually fighting someone. So it was really a lot for me to learn, and it was really, really fun. It was really, really fun. I loved it. I had so much fun. And we'll go through it in more detail another time. We'll go through it in more detail. I can't, I'll tell you the behind the scenes of how we pulled off that kick that I did, that spinny kick, because that was fun. That was really fun. How to do toast, thank you very much for the Akasupa. You got a job offer, and you've been pushing for it too. Moving next week to another oh my god, I will accompany you, I'll stay with you, and congratulations on getting that job after so much perseverance. You earned that, you deserve that so much. I'm very proud of you. Shanna, thank you very, very much. Yeah, it was so fun. It was so fun. Yeah. Falling is hard, and as demonstrated, because I bruised my rib at one point during one of the scenes. Again, I can't really remember if it was when the tentacles pinned me to the ground, or when it was me getting dragged down the stairs for the stairs sequence. But yeah, that was rough. So you need to know how to fall properly. It was great seeing how cautious they were of safety. Like when we were doing the stairs scene, like, they were very mindful of, like, make sure he's okay. And so around the little temporary stairs that they built out of wood and, like, very sturdy wooden boxes and tape, and they put weights in the wooden boxes to keep them anchored to the ground and all that. But even still, they had these safety mats all the way around. And whenever I was walking up the stairs and we were recording a take for it, they would always kind of be stood around, kind of like waiting to catch me if I fell off or something like that. And it was really fun. I mean, I was fine. I didn't wind up falling off until it was scripted that I would fall down the stairs. I actually came up with the idea for that shot of me smacking my head into the stairs, like, on the day. And it was the end of the day as well. So it's like we were kind of strapped for time, but I was like, please, I want to make it violent. Please, I want to make it violent. And they were like, Okay, and that was great, and it came out so good. It came out so good. I love that with the sound, just a bang, bang. It was so great. Obviously, I wasn't actually hurting myself. It was, again, more great editing trickery to make it look like my head is hitting the stairs harder than possible, harder than I actually was. And obviously, my head wasn't actually hitting the stairs. They kind of padded it up. They padded the stairs up with some cushions and stuff, and then I kind of motioned my head going bang, 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 like that. It was great. It was great. Ouchie on my rib. But yeah, something about me feels very proud. You know, something about me feels very, very proud that I injured myself while I was making this. I feel weirdly, like, so happy that I sustained an injury, you know? Because it's like the whole Lord of the Rings thing, where Aragorn, like broke his toe when he kicked the helmet, and and everyone gets to say that as a fun fact. Like, you now can watch this film with someone and say, hey, did you know when he got dragged down the stairs, he bruised his rib? And, like, so that's how you know it's real. I mean, it's not the same as Lord of the Rings because he screams and that's how you know it's real. But it's still a fun little tidbit. Diva, thank you very, very much. Now you understand why I tweeted Frodo. Yeah, at the end of filming, when I tweeted Frodo, it's over. It's done. I was so tired. Everyone was so tired at the end of film. It was 4 days of just constant work. Early mornings, late nights, just getting as much as possible and, like, being kept to time, and them saying, like, we've got to keep working on this. We need to make sure we get these scenes, and being kept to time and everything. It was so much. It was so much work, but I am so glad. I am so glad we did it. Wen, thank you very much for the Akasupa. Congrats on your 3D debut. All the songs are wonderful. I'm glad you liked them. I'm glad you did. Kuro, thank you very much for the Akasupa. And Sheena, thank you very, very much as well. Imagine staying in character with a broken toe. Could not be me. If I actually broke something, if there was a take, right? If I broke something and there was a take with that, I would keep it in the film. I would fight to have that in the film. If there was, like, a scene in the fight scene where I get hit in the face and I broke my nose or something, I would absolutely fight for that to be the take used in the film. Even if everything else about it goes wrong, I'm like, we have to use the one where I broke my nose. There's no other way. Lollipop, thank you for the Akasupa. My head is still stuck. I don't want to say me neither. Me neither. I'm really proud. I'm really proud. And it still doesn't really feel like it's real, you know? Still doesn't feel like it's real. Oh my goodness. And everyone's being so lovely. Everyone's being so lovely. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm getting distracted. I'm just so overwhelmed with all the positivity. It's really, really nice. And then you guys have so much to look forward to. It's the Summer Jam next. More 3D performances to look forward to. Isn't that insane? Isn't that insane? I got the biggest smile on my face. I got the biggest smile on my face right now. Oh man. Yeah, after stream we'll raid into Summer Jam, and then I'll post the written message as well. I'll post the handwritten message because I really like that. I really, really like that one, and I love the picture we took for it as well, with me being out in the rain. It's very simple. It's simple symbolism, but I love what it represents of me just learning to be okay with shit not being perfect. You go out on a sunny day and it rains, but I'm out there with a smile because life is fucking brilliant, and that's all that's all there is to say about it. I'm still trending. I fucking better be. Fucking better still be trending. Hell yeah, buddy. I'm trending as hell. I'm trending as fuck. I'm gonna post some screenshots from this as well. Oh, man. And Uki got a screenshot, a really low res screenshot of me kneeling in the background of How to Get Away with Murder. That's so funny. Are you listening right now? I'm listening. Oh, I'm listening. I had so much fun. I had so much fun. My head is split. My brain is in pieces. Have I seen Rosami's tweet? I have not. What did Rosami say? Happy. That one that one demon of my domain is singing loudly and dancing to himself. Happy 3D with Vox Suckma. Thank you, Rosami. Thank you, Rosami. Thank you, Merryweather. Thank you. I worked very hard. I'm glad you liked it. Glahanoisi, thank you very much for the super, and Moeko, thank you very, very much as well. Okay. Oh. You know what? I forgot. I also, I remember, so the process of getting this thing up, I remember in the final stretch trying to render the whole thing, and every time I would check it, there would be a little mistake, and I would have to go back and do it again, and go through all of these different steps to like render it out, and then render each individual scene, and then put it through a pass, and then do it again, and there were a load of rendering issues, like glitches, and I went back and fixed those, and I kept sending staff new versions to check, and being like, here's the final one, wait, no, I found something wrong, here's the final one, and it kept going and going and going, and I was so stressed, I was like, and I had watched this 3D debut so many times. I had watched it through to check for mistakes so many times. It felt like I was looking at cardboard. I was like, I have seen this thing hundreds of times. What is going on? I don't remember what I've made. I don't remember what it's about. What even is this? And I was so stressed. I was so tired. And then when I watched the whole thing through, the final version that you saw, and there were no mistakes, there was no issues, and I finished it and I sent it off, I sat back and I cried. I felt such a great wave of relief and of calm, knowing that now there were no more hoops to jump through, there were no more steps to take. This whole mad journey was over, and I could finally rest. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So grateful that I got to do this, and that you all came out in such force to come and see it. It is astonishing to me that I have this wonderful of a life and that I get to do all of this fucking stuff. It's amazing. It's the best life I could have asked for. I mean that so much. Let's spend that life fucking around and playing video games together, right? That's gonna be fun. Rest well, Mother. I will. Oh boy, what am I gonna do tonight? After I end stream, I'm gonna watch the Summer Jam, obviously. Gotta be there for those guys. And then I gotta... What else am I gonna do? Just kind of sit around. Wait for stream, I guess. I don't know. Oh, shit! Fellas, I know what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. I just remembered something. I have a meeting. I just remembered I have a meeting very shortly. Oh, fuck. I completely forgot. Shit. It's fine. It's fine. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Okay, I have to go. I have to go. Well, I don't have to go immediately, but I do have to go. Okay. That is all, everyone. I want to say thank you so much for your patience, for your hard work, for the main thing. I'm going to put on some emotional fucking music right now because I am emotional today. I am incredibly emotional. Okay? Where's the right one? Yeah, of course it's got to be fucking fuck me up, James Hannigan. all of this film, the story that I tell you, all of it is there because you have given me the opportunity of a lifetime. And I ask myself every day, do I deserve it? Why do I have this if not someone else? But after making this, there's a part of me that feels like maybe I really do deserve this, you know? I genuinely feel like I've done something really cool. And not only that, I have the most wonderful people on earth to show that to and to share it with. Because without you, this would not exist. That film exists because of my interaction with you. That film exists because after The Demon Hungers came out, I went through a majorly bad emotional time and you responded to it in a certain way. And that way of responding to it inspired that film. If that had not happened, I most likely would have made a 3D where I sing a couple goofy songs and I had plans to do one where I recreate memes. Like the Casey Fry get out my way type way dance. I would have done that. You know, which would have been funny. But instead, I made another film in under 6 months. Because you inspired me. Because you pushed me. Because when I thought I had this whole thing figured out, and when I knew what I needed to do, you helped me understand what I needed. And isn't that so beautiful? That art can rise from any situation, from any emotion, from any feeling, from any interaction between two people. Anything can spark an idea. And this film, something in this life that I am more proud of than almost anything in the world, that film exists because of you. The Demon Hungers was something I went through by myself with a small few people a long, long time ago. But this film exists because of you. And so I'm proud of having made it, but I could never have made it without you. I could never have made it without being encouraged, without having my creativity fostered, and then without having some of my bad qualities scrutinized, without being held accountable for when I don't do things quite right. This whole insane journey that led to this, going into the mountains, coming out as a snow monkey, big hairy guy, shrinking back down and smiling when I did so, writing the script, singing these songs. I would never have thought of any of those ideas. Those 4 songs, those scenes, none of them would exist if it wasn't for you. Now, I'm not saying that gives you a pass to make me do anything. Don't get any fucking ideas, okay? Don't randomly start throwing shit at me and expecting me to shit out films every time. But in this instance, I think it's something we can celebrate, okay? And I'm very, very grateful to you for that. More than anything else, a creative endeavor as a form of therapy, that's what it's all about. Because when I was feeling those things, thinking about this work of art was pretty much all that kept me going. Thinking about no matter what I'd done, no matter how I'd made mistakes, or no matter what I had said that had hurt people, I knew on the inside I had the potential to grow. And showing that growth through art is a way of me looking at it and believing that it's real. It's a way of me looking at that period in my life and seeing it as just that. It's not just a bad time, it's a chapter. It's a chapter in the story that we choose to tell the people that we love. And that chapter, I'm proud to say, is over. Now, I'm still going to tell you a fascinating story about an unlikely person who, by all rights, should not be in the position that he's in. I don't know any other demons that are fucking live streamers, but here we are. I'm not going to put that away. Don't doubt me on that. I'm not going to suddenly come out from behind a curtain and reveal that it was all fake, because I don't like to lie. I gave that up back in November last year, okay? But I think that being this emotionally stunted man who didn't know how to accept a good thing when he had it, that chapter is over. And so now we have all this time, we have all of this potential, all of this love that we share between each other. We have so much to be thankful for, so much to be grateful for. I would invite you now to begin this next chapter with me. So all I want to ask you is, if you're ready, like the myth of the Minotaur, let's write our own legend together. Thank you very much, everyone, for all of your support today. Thank you, Gloves, for the super, Sal for the Aka Super, and Magi for the Aka Super as well. I've been Vox Akuma, your voice demon from NIJISANJI EN, streamer, rapper, filmmaker, convicted killer. I'm going to see you in the next one. See ya.